welcome to the Horror Hangout, a podcast where film fans watch the best and worst horror movies of all time and talk about them. My name is Ben Errington, and today I'm joined by regular co-host Mr.
Andy Conduit Turner. Hello, Ben. Nice to be back again. How are you?
Hello and welcome back. And welcome back also to a very special returning guest. Alice Taylor Matthews is a comedian, lifelong horror fan, and host of the live improvised role-playing game show Tales of Adventure. Welcome back to the show, Alice. Hello.
Hello. Thank you for having me back.
Hello
Talk
there.
about rats.
You're always welcome. I did say before we recorded, Alice, I hope you don't take it as a terrible slight. The second I watched Rats, Night of Terror on my own time, I thought, right, pause this, tell Ben we're doing an episode and get straight on to Alice.
Thank you.
How's your name all over it, this one?
Yeah.
That's how it works. That's exactly how, I mean, to be fair, that's how we book most guests for this show, right?
Yeah. We
Yeah.
wait until we see something that reminds us of them personally. Say, hey, I was watching a film about loads of horrible rats getting people. You immediately came to mind.
Loads of horrible rats getting fit. Is this film like I was watching it, I was thinking, did any rats get harmed during this
Oh,
thing?
many rats got harmed.
Many
There's
rats got because I
many
was
rats.
thinking I couldn't imagine a world where rats didn't get harmed in this particular thing.
No.
I mean,
Am I
according to
also
one piece of trivia, the bold line is no animals were harmed, despite some gruesome scenes. However, many of the rats did die of natural causes while the film was being made, and then their bodies were used to throw at the actors to simulate some of the attack scenes. But the filmmakers do stress at this point that the rats had already died, so they were only desecrating their corpses.
No, there's a very clear shot of a rat walking into some fire.
Oh God.
That's not a natural cause.
No.
Apparently,
Oh, he naturally died of walking into the fire. Come on, that's a natural cause. I like it,
I mean,
Abby.
fire does occur in nature.
That those 200 rats over there, they've all just died of natural causes. So sling buckets of them over the over the actors. No way. Well, looking forward to talking about some rats, of course. Is it officially like the third movie in a kind of trilogy, right?
Is it?
Not
Oh,
of rats though. It's not
if
like a
I've not
rats
started
trilogy.
this on the right time.
No, I don't think it's a rats trilogy. I think it's
Yeah,
like
it was Nat's Morning of Terror, Rat's Daytime of Terror, Rat's
And then
Nighttime.
rats that are
Oh my God. I can't find the actual fact of that. I'll get it when we get to it. But
I did have a look at the director's filmography, which I very much enjoyed. Bruno, how are you saying his surname?
Mattei?
Mattei.
Mattei.
Um,
Mattei?
have you had a look at any of his previous
There's
films?
a lot
I'm
of
sad to
there's a lot
say I
of
haven't
sexy
seen
ones.
them,
There's a lot of
but
Emmanuel ones, isn't
Um,
there?
I like that one's called Spartacus and the Ten Gladiators. I mean, Spartacus, very famously a gladiator himself.
um, I mean, some of
11.
these violence in a women's prison.
Oh, there was violence in women's prison and followed up by next year by women's prison massacre and also
It's
the
basically the
jail,
same.
the woman's hell.
No, no, no.
He just
Jail is
loves.
for many women hell. Uh-oh. At Private House of the SS, or in English, the SS girls.
Yeah, I've got SS girls. I've also got Sexy Night Report.
Oh,
I've also
Sexy.
this is my favorite one though. Agent free passport to hell.
uh-oh. I
He
mean,
also
I feel like we could have a whole spin-off podcast with just the
Yeah.
56 movies of this
yeah.
gentleman.
He did also direct Cruel Jewels, didn't he? Which I've heard about
Cruel,
before.
yeah,
I've
I've
not
got
actually
called
seen it.
and a Terminator ripoff, which is called something like
There's
I
one
can't.
called Shocking Dark Terminator
Shocking
2.
Dark Terminator 2.
Wow.
And
If you see
the the
the
poster
post,
is Terminator,
yeah.
but it's a ripoff of Aliens.
Oh,
Wow.
no way. He seems to have. He had a period of time where he's making sexy movies as well. Sexual Aberration, Emmanuel. There's loads of Emmanuel ones.
Yeah, his Wikipedia page says he is known for nunsploitation, Nazi exploitation, and women in prison movies.
If people could just stop exploiting those poor hard done by Nazis.
He go, yeah, I've got a couple of specialities. Yeah, what kind of film you want to make? Women's prison movie? I'm on it.
Could there be Nazis or rats in this? Well,
Nazis, rats, and nuns in a women's prison.
Yeah.
That sounds like
the perfect recipe. The other bit of trivia that came up was apparently not that we've not to well, we haven't buried the lead. We've done the exact opposite. Apparently, Rat's Night of Terror is his favorite from
Oh,
his creations,
that's
It's
nice.
his favorite.
according to at least one source. Yes.
Okay. Is the one source him?
My
Yes.
favorite description of this movie was like, if you go on Wikipedia, it's like, critical reception, and someone described it as like, it is a very workmanlike film.
Everything I've
That's
read really, really, really leans into how low the budget was.
Yeah, I feel like they were like, we need to say something nice. It's
Mm.
very workmanlike.
I was reading that they used a lot of the sets from Sergio Leone's Once Upon a
Yeah,
Time in America, didn't they? Just
yeah,
like
yeah.
jumped in there. Well, we're going to demolish all this stuff now. And they just went, hang on a minute, give us a few days.
I've got a big bag of rats here. I'm going to make a movie.
They're all alive. Don't worry.
Some may die of natural causes. That's just the nature of their lifespan.
I love it when like places reuse sets and you can like recognize things.
Yeah.
Although the like 1960s Batman, the reason that that ended was because it finished with one studio and another studio was like, oh, we'll have it, and then they got there and they'd already started destroying the sets and they went, don't worry about it then. So that's why there's no more Batman.
They filmed one episode of Power Rangers in there, like knocked a Megazord through all of Gotham City.
Yeah, so it was the Batman TV series was meant to continue, but under a different studio, but they'd already destroyed the sets, and the other studio was like, "Oh, we're not spending
Ah,
money on making more."
what a shame. What a shame. Okay, so yes, we were talking about Rats, Night of Terror today. Have we ever talked about a killer rodent? Is there another killer rodent movie? I was going to say, have we ever talked about a killer rodent movie?
Well, they're not rodents. There's lots of evil rabbits. There's the Night of is it Night of the Lupus or what's it
Lepus,
called?
yeah,
Yeah, Lupus. Yeah, evil rabbits.
Yeah, that kind
yeah.
of
We've
counts.
not we've not covered that on the show though.
Like
I mean,
cute,
have
cute,
we?
cute rats, basically.
Cute rats, yeah.
Long-eared
Um,
rats.
Evil rat Watership Down's got an evil rabbit in it. Horrible,
Yeah.
bloody,
yeah,
brutal.
the
That is.
General, is that his name? I don't
I think
know. I
his
can't.
name's the General. Yeah, I mean, everyone was scarred by watching that cartoon
Yeah.
when they were a kid.
Um,
I've not seen Night of the Lepus, but I feel like
Maybe a double bill with frogs.
yeah, I
frogs.
used
Yeah.
to when I programmed a cinema, I used to do uh, a nightly a series called Creature Double Feature, and we would have like two films of like a film.
Oh yeah. Did you ever
My
do
favorite one, I think we didn't do rats. I think my favorite one was Evil Monkeys, which I might have even talked about before.
Love an evil monkey film over
Yeah.
on the Horror
The
Hangout.
night was
Yeah.
called They Are Not Your Primates.
Oh, very good.
Oh wow. To be
What
fair,
did you go
after I
for on
watched,
that one? Because there's a bit of a selection.
We went with Monkey Shines.
Yes,
Like I'm
oh
a
classic.
big,
yes,
big fan of Monkey Shines, and we went with Night of the Bloody Apes,
Night
which
of the
is
Bloody
oh my
Apes.
God, not seen that one.
a female wrestling were monkey movie.
What the hell?
Tell me more.
These are all
Wow.
words that really strike a chord with me.
Like
Excuse me while I look down and type
a
this in.
female Mexican wrestler. I can't remember how she gets embroiled, and it ends up like someone ends up being mutated into a monkey, like a werewolf, but monkey, and it
Oh
goes
my
around
God.
ripping people apart.
Night of the
And
Bloody.
she's
Oh
got
my
to
goodness,
solve
this
it for some
face.
reason. I don't remember.
Right, adding that to the watch list
After watching
immediately.
Rats Night of Terror on Shudder, it did immediately try and make me watch Bats. I don't know if it was
Oh,
just
It's
assuming.
got Dizzy from Starship Troopers in it, hasn't it?
Yes, it does. You're right. You're
As a
right.
sheriff.
Yeah.
I've seen Bats,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've
which
seen
ironically
Bats.
would also be a Night of Terror because that's when they come out.
yeah. They're
Yeah.
cute. I think bats get a bad reputation. They're basically tiny miniature bears with wings. They're
Yeah,
adorable.
nice little cute little flying mice with nice
I
little
do,
faces.
I do love the poster for Bats because it's literally the word Bats upside down.
Oh, is it? Oh,
Yeah.
good job on that graphic designer.
Yeah, definitely good job on that. I do feel like when I watch this now, though. Um, anyway,
Join us next month,
next.
everyone, for Bats.
Yeah. Okay, so let's kick off the show with a new segment on the
You've
show, which
remembered,
is
Ben. Well done.
I've remembered.
I've just looked at the poster. It's very nice. So,
It is, isn't it? It's lovely. All the bats flying out looks genuinely scary. I don't think it was critically well received, was it?
I mean, depends if I liked it.
Yeah, Andy liked it. That means it's good. We'll check it out. Okay, so Alice, we would like to ask you what your Mount Rush horror is. Someone said we should call it Mount Rushmore,
I was
but
going to say, where haven't you gone with Matt Rushmore?
I kind of like Mount Rush horror because it's a little bit naff. So
Yeah.
let's stick with naff, considering we're talking about rats today. Actually, that's a bit mean. Um, I
As
think it
we know,
helps.
Ben, rats very successful. Pushed into a corner, they'll evolve.
They will evolve. You've been on the show before, Alice, but it's
Yes.
good for us to find out more about you as a horror fan. What
Mm.
four iconic horror faces would you put on your Mount Rush horror?
Well, almost immediately I went with special effects makeup artists, and then I was like, no, I should try and diversify.
Well, you can.
So
I think fifth as much a higher percentage of
Whatever
the.
speaks to your spirit,
Yeah.
Alice.
I've kept Tom Savini
Yeah.
Yeah.
because he's an all-rounder really. You know, he's obviously a makeup artist, but also has been in movies, and is just a great horror icon. He's the first one, Tom Savini.
Good choice.
And then I've got Jamie Lee Curtis
Hmm.
because she's great. And like the OG Scream Queen, really, in terms of like having someone ending up being typecast, but like kind of brilliantly.
What do you
Um,
think when you think of Jamie Lee Curtis? Is it the Halloween Jamie Lee Curtis you immediately imagine, or is it from one of her other
I
horror?
mean, Halloween probably comes to mind. I mean, my other one is John Carpenter. So,
They got their arms around each other on the
yeah,
mountain.
yeah. Um,
Tom
and
Savini
then
probably have his
I
arms around
was
them as well.
thinking, I was thinking about like other people, like music scores and directors and things like that. And but in the end, I had to bring it back to Christopher Lee because I love Christopher
Oh,
Lee. The Wicker
yeah.
Man is still like one of my absolute favorite films ever. Um,
And is that what
and
flavor you'd have of him on the mountain? You'd have his
oh
big
yeah,
Lord Summersile hair.
Lord Summersall, and I know that it's only his head, but he in his drag at the end of
Yep.
the movie.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've still got in here.
I
I
I mean, that is an extremely solid four, I would say. I would say
Yeah,
with
that's a powerful
made a
group.
little. Oh, you won't be able to see it, will you?
Oh wait, you
Gonna
did.
say I made a little Wicker Man lino print, but you
I
can't see
did
it.
see you post
That's
that on
very
Instagram,
good.
and it did look awesome.
Yeah. Anything if I ever want to watch a horror movie or whatever, I'm watching The Wicker Man or I'm watching The Thing.
Yeah. Two strong movies and four very strong choices for Mount Rush horror,
If you
which
haven't
is
seen it yet, let's look out for Ben, either give me enough time to scramble while I look at thing. The folk horror documentary we saw at Fright Fest Glasgow this year.
yes, that was good. So it's
Right.
about the events that inspired the original movie Wicker Man, The Wicker
Yeah.
Man. I can't remember what it's called over Andy, but
Did they cover how we, because there's like multiple versions of the Wicker Man
Hmm.
in various lengths. Does it cover that?
I don't know if it
It is
covers the multiple
called.
versions. It kind of just covers like the events that actually
Yeah,
inspired the
because
movie.
one of my favorite stories is the reason we have like the version I like is the one with all the songs. It's basically a musical, but the
Yeah.
reason like we have that version is because Roger Corman just happened to have a copy because they destroyed loads of the copies. And in
Oh
fact,
wow.
it's actually under the M4, I think, or the M32. Just like they
Hmm.
put the they put the negatives just in motorway
They're all
filler.
just down there.
But luckily, Roger Corman had a copy.
There are two. There are two Wicker Man documentaries that I've seen recently. Actually, well, in the last year or so. The Last Sacrifice was the
That was the
documentary I
one.
saw
That was the one
Mm.
by Rupert Russell.
at Fright Fest. Yeah,
That's the new one. Really good, Alice. I think you'll
I
like it.
will check it
And
out. That sounds
you'll
right up my
never look at the
street.
Teletubbies the same way again.
and another one called Children of the Wicker Man, which I think I saw at Fright Fest. Might have been a year before. Which is kind of about director Robin Hardy's lost papers and his
Mm.
filmmaker son going through all that stuff. Yeah, it's pretty fascinating. Where do you stand on the remake?
I have only seen the bees bit on YouTube. I'm just not interested in watching it. Um,
Oh, I
I
just
I mean,
just,
it has its moments for comedy. I don't think you can compare it to The Wicker Man. It's a completely different
yeah,
film,
I mean,
it's
the,
completely
the
different.
Wicker Man is literally a perfect film. I don't know why you would bother remaking it.
if you're Nicolas Cage and you wanted
Nicolas
to
Cage was free, yeah, that's
punch
what
out a woman dressed as a bear.
Fair enough. I don't think
Yeah.
he needs to attach himself to the Wicker Man to do that, does he?
No, he
Could just be
definitely
called
doesn't.
My Holiday.
So yeah, but yeah, solid four choices, I would say, Alice. The problem is every time we do this, it just makes me want to rethink mine. Andy, do you kind of feel the same?
Yeah, I feel like I need like the Valley of the Kings now
I
with
I
just
nearly put Tony Todd on there, but then I
Yeah.
didn't. And then I was like, oh, I don't know.
Four,
after he made us all cry last week
Yeah,
with
yeah.
his have you seen New Final Destination?
I have. Yeah, I saw it. A couple of days ago.
I guess we'll cover that in another section coming up shortly.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Let's move on to horror news just before we get into what we've been watching. So, horror news for this week. One piece of news I'm going to mention is based on Janine Pipe, friend of the show, former guest, um, regular collaborator with us here at Horror Hangout, and she's mentioned her book, The Making of the Descent, which she's writing with director um, Neil Marshall. I got confused then because I was looking at someone else's name called Neil, slightly different. Another former guest, Neil Fraser, who has made the cover for the book, The Making of the Descent. It's been released now. It's available for pre-order on the website. Sorry, I meant the cover's been released. I didn't mean the book's been released. It's from Telos Publishing. If you go to telos.co.uk now, you can pre-order it. So very exciting. It's got a Stephen King blurb on the front cover, which is obviously very exciting, talking about the old crawlers from the Descent, and how nightmarish they are and how claustrophobic the movie is. But yeah, we'll definitely be getting involved with this. Of course, Janine Pipe's previous book writing about dog soldiers. This is slightly different. This is more of a coffee table book with a lot of behind the scenes photos and Marshall's notes as well, and memories from the making of the book. So yeah, very, very looking forward to this.
Yeah,
And
that sounds great. I love Dog Soldiers and the Descent.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Two amazing, amazing books. But yeah, we'll keep listeners up to speed with news of when the release will be. But it'd be great to get Janine back on the show to talk about the book once we're a little bit closer to publishing. Um, Obviously we have covered the Descent on this show, Andy, but maybe we should go to the Descent too. I know it's very different in in a way that it's the same.
Or do we do another just undergroundy monsters? We could do Creep, that one that's in the London Underground, or
Yeah.
Mimic, which is in the New York Underground. Sometimes it's a bad man, sometimes it's cockroaches.
Sometimes there's cockroaches dressed up in a trench coat like Raphael from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, big hat on.
A big hat on. Is that a man back there, or is it a load of cockroaches? Oh yeah, I see. Very good at just plucking two films in connection out of thin air, Andy, that we also haven't covered.
Yeah, get them on the list,
Magic.
everybody. Don't worry, content is endless.
Yeah. So, and also last week, me and Ashley, we discussed the trailer for Welcome to Derry. We discussed the fact that it was about to release, but now it has released. So we have seen it. It's the prequel series to It. Bill Skarsgård's coming back as Pennywise, and the director Andy Muschietti is also directing this. He directed the It Part One and Part Two movies. This is in 1962. There's a bloody Pennywise knocking about, and it's a prequel, so I guess it's more of the same. But we only see Pennywise at the very end of the trailer. Did anyone, either of you two, see this trailer? Welcome to
No.
That's
Derry.
I did see it. It's one of those things. I didn't need to see it. I was going to watch it anyway.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much I got from it. Apart from confusion. Like obviously, we see a little bit of like some of the. I think they're obviously going into some of the deep lore. There's some you see some things that are about the turtle, which is the bit which
Oh yeah, I
when I
did see
first
that.
read
Yeah.
it I found incomprehensible. But maybe this time I've got
Yeah.
another chance. But I guess is this going to have a rough time because obviously Pennywise in the 60s. People weren't so rude as they are now.
No,
They won't neg him and beat him up like they
I
did
was
in the
thinking this.
80s.
Pennywise wins in the 60s, isn't he?
Well, yeah,
Um,
he's got to, isn't he?
yeah, he's got to win. Come on, Pennywise. Um,
I'm due one. I'm due a win. Maybe this will be at the end of the series. It'll just be him as he's sitting getting beaten up by those kids. Oh, remember the 60s when people weren't so bloody rude? Tell me I'm a pathetic clown and beat the shit out of me.
maybe he likes that. Maybe he's into that.
Yeah, just
There are
remembering the good old days.
I think there are two other seasons that have been teased. One taking place in 1935 and one in 1908. where everyone they'll be well polite to him in 1908, wouldn't
Good morrow, sir. Eat you straight away.
they?
Oh, would you mind ever so terribly not ripping my
But
guts out, Master
just
Pennywise?
thinking about that, like Pennywise obviously like feeds off your fears. Like the fears in like did you say 1890? What was it?
1908.
1908. What are those fears?
The
Because
See a
impending
woman
First
reading.
World War.
yeah, everything's going to be war related.
Yeah.
Oh no, the Kaiser, he's after me.
You know,
Oh my God. Yeah, I know what you mean.
I feel like
Um,
he's got a lot more to work with. You know,
Prohibition. When did alcohol prohibition come in? Maybe like the 20s, wasn't it?
yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's a fear, a true fear. Having to go up the chimney. I don't know. I'm just making. I mean, all my generalizations are based on Mary Poppins, aren't they?
Mm.
Yeah. He's Dick Van Dyke down the road after him. Under the lie, but he's Pennywise.
Dick Van Dyke. Yeah, everyone looked older
Oh.
back then as well. Dick Van Dyke. He was only 18
Yeah,
in Mary Poppins.
yeah, you're 18, you got a mustard cardigan and a tartan blanket. Get to bed, mate. You're retired. You're a granddad now. Go and
Uh,
have a picture taken next to your bare plaster walls.
I mean, I'm kind of interested in this. I think this could be pretty cool. I mean, it could potentially just be lots of different set pieces over and over again of people being scared, little kids. But I don't know. I feel like when you've got like an ensemble cast of like some kids taking on an evil, and it's very Stephen King, isn't it? But I'm
But
always,
remember, not winning because they have to
but not
lose.
winning. Maybe they win a bit and then eventually don't win at all. No.
Oh, they're gonna what's it called? They're gonna smile
Yeah,
at
because
because oh
he goes for a nap every now and then, doesn't he?
yeah,
Yeah.
He sort of kills
every
a bunch
20
of
years or
kids and
so.
then bins it off for a big nap and then he comes back.
Yeah. Kills a bunch of
They're ever so
kids.
filling, ever so rich eating kids is. You have to have a little sit down after you've had a few.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like Christmas Day. You gotta have a
Yeah.
snooze.
He's just there sitting in an armchair with The Simpsons on.
He's got a Doctor Who Christmas special
Yeah.
on a
Oh,
tiny
I'm just gonna
TV.
sit down and watch the Strictly special.
You won't make it to the big dance, the big number at the end. Yeah, I will. I will. I always do.
Just a big round Christmas dinner belly with like a box of After Eights just rested perfectly across the top. Don't
After
take them
eights
away,
is
I'm
of
not
course
asleep.
I was gonna say after eights is of course like 8 to 12 year olds.
Yeah. That's
Ah,
it. Holding a
that's
glass
good.
of red wine. Don't take it off me, I'm not asleep. And he just spills it on himself. And then it's that image that gives everyone the venom to slag him off in the future and beat him.
Yeah,
Look at you, pathetic. You spilt your wine
future
on
Pennywise. I'll
yourself.
tell you what, Pennywise wouldn't last if he had a social media account, would he? People would be
No.
absolutely
He would
bantering
be
him.
cancelled.
He'd
Yeah,
be
straight away.
cancelled immediately, and yeah, he'd just crumble into a.
Can you imagine if Pennywise just tried to teach at a comprehensive secondary school these days? He wouldn't last 10 minutes.
You
If
get
he was a
absolutely
supply
destroyed.
teacher,
Are you
you're not
ginger
a
or are you
regular
bold?
teacher.
Which one is it? Make your mind up, mate.
Here, mate, your eyes. You got a boss eye. No, I haven't. Stop it.
Have you got a 4 head or a 14 head? He's got a 14 head. But yeah, you know what? I'll watch this. Why not? The last piece of news I've got is Shudder have acquired a new Spanish horror thriller called Vieja Loca from producer J.A. Bayona. The only reason I put this as a story is because the English translation for that is Crazy Old Lady.
Wow, I'm in.
A man receives a desperate call from his ex-girlfriend to temporarily care for her senile mother. Oh, that'd be annoying, wouldn't it? But the woman won't let him leave, turning a simple task into a nightmare. Is this?
I do love general translations of things. Do you know what the Chinese version of, well, I'll tell you what the film's called. Can you guess what He's a Ghost is?
Is
Oh,
it?
is it The Sixth Sense?
Oh my God. I wonder what this film's about. I didn't see that twist coming at all, did you? No.
Very surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that sounds fun.
This sounds fun. The woman won't let him leave. The woman won't let him leave. This is just like going to visit someone of a
Yeah.
certain age, like a boomer or something, isn't it? Turn my
Oh,
Wi-Fi on, or I won't let you leave.
no, the worst is if you haven't visited an elderly relative for a long time. So, and then the first half an hour of you visiting is being made to feel terrible for not visiting more often, therefore making it less likely that you'll visit again. Grandma paradox.
The grandma paradox. Yeah. Let's look. I mean, hag exploitation is, it's popular. It's been popular for years, but it's still popular. People love
I
that,
mean,
don't they?
to spoil a film from the 90s, which was terrible and I wouldn't recommend anyone see, one of my favorite slashers of days gone by was called Granny. And it was about a granny who murders and she kills them in classic granny ways. She's got like knitting needles. Um,
Oh, I love that.
and
That's great.
then again, spoilers, everybody, strap in, skip forward 30 seconds if you are desperate to watch Granny and can find a copy anywhere. But ultimately, our final girl is cornered by Granny and gets so scared that she has a heart attack. The ending scene of the film is her funeral, having had a heart attack, all the friends that are previously murdered feeling guilty for doing such a horrible prank that it made this girl have a heart attack. And the granny is just one of the other characters' brothers who has not been in it the whole time and is just sitting there looking guilty at the funeral, saying, "Oh, I didn't mean to be such a scary granny."
Well, it's
What the
just
hell?
And that's
Did
it.
they watch April Fool's Day and be like, we can spin this?
But
is it
with an
called?
old
Is it
lady.
The Granny 1995?
Let me have a look. The
Because
granny.
there's a few Granny movies coming up. Talking
Oh
of
no, this granny seems to have magical eyes. And oh no, she'll love you to death. Oh no,
That's a good tagline.
that's an eternal life potion. It can't be that one. There's no eternal life potion in the granny I know.
have you imagined this again?
I'm gonna find this. Maybe it's called grandma. Maybe I'm being too
The
informal.
grandma. We did talk about the visit last week, Andy, and I'm going to give you a chance now to take the floor and and defend the visit, which me and Ashley were
Uh,
very negative
I would
about.
say that The Visit is probably in the top half of M. Night's movies. I think it was a pseudo return to form after Avatar: The Last Airbender
Oh God.
and
I
Lady in the
mean,
Water and The Happening, all films that you like. Um,
Bass.
I didn't say I don't like the Avatar one. I def
you
Lady in the
were
Water's
you were
okay,
creaming your jeans over The Happening.
but the happening is like so bad it's good. Like it's very very stupid, isn't it?
I think there are some good scares. There's the bit under the house.
Oh
I
yeah.
like the little bit where the children are pretending to play for the benefit of the grandma, and he's just throwing a ball up in the air and turning around to convince them that's how children play. Um, yeah, I think it's got its moments, Ben.
I think the real twist of The Sixth Sense that it was a bad movie the whole time.
It was a
Oh,
bad
she's got
move.
him.
She's
It's
got him.
I think I mean obviously the twist is great, but like you watch that, with the exception of Tony Collette, everyone is awful in that movie. Oh, the acting is just really bad. The direction is really bad. I
I
just,
think
I don't know.
no, I
I'm
think
not
we've
into
come
The
to
Sixth
it. I think
Sense.
we finally, after we've discussed a lot of those movies, it's now occurred to. I think for me, the dialogue has a very certain sense about it, and I think we finally came to terms that I think it's
M
the
Night's
dialogue is written as if
dialogue.
it's a stage play.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I can see that.
It's
Did you
M Night's
watch what
dialogue.
was
Yeah.
the one that he did recently? A Knock at the Door?
Not got a
Oh,
cabin.
Not
knock
Knock
at
at the
Remember that?
Cabin? I
yeah.
absolutely lost my mind watching that. Me and my friend watched it, and there's a line in it that is someone just says, "You know what they say? If you can make eggs, you can do anything." I was like, "No one says that. That's not a thing people say.
And it
That's
depends
not
what type
true.
of eggs as well, because
If you can make eggs, you can do anything." No, no, that's not
Famously,
how
that's one
that
of the things you do
works.
first.
Yeah, that's a very basic task. You can't go from eggs to brain surgery. What are
no.
you on about?
You say that just before you cut into someone's like cranium. Well, they say if you can do eggs, Exhibit A, lovely
So
set
for
of
about a
eggs.
year afterwards, me and my friend would just say that to each other and just lose it.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. Not good. Not good. But what have we learned, Addy? Andy, Andy. What have we learned? The Visit. We should probably cover Sixth Sense. We should probably do an episode on that as
Yeah,
well.
why not?
Why
Go
not?
through the go through these
We've
things.
done Knock at the Cabin. So
We did do knock at the cabin.
can
Did you
we?
cover the weird egg line?
Can't remember.
Yes,
We
almost
did. You
certainly.
think we
Yeah, we
did?
almost certainly picked up
I
on
don't
the eggs.
remember.
I'm gonna go back and listen to it, see
Yeah.
if we did.
Scrub through to see if we go. That egg line was great. Yeah, that's the best
Oh,
line in the movie.
really
That made.
profound, actually, and that's my inspiration going forward. Yeah, the egg line definitely got a mention. I'm sure of it.
Yeah. I mean that's all I've got for horror news.
Got one
Uh,
more bit of news for you, Ben.
yes.
Some horror business news. If you know this is where you come for your business information. Um, your friend and mine, Eli Roth, has got sick of those big studios pulling the strings. And apparently, inspired by a conversation he had with Howard Stern, who said, "You're really good, I would invest in you," he's thought, you know what? Why don't people be able to do that? And Eli Roth's The Horror section is currently crowdfunding literally to buy shares in things which buy shares in the production and own a piece of the IP. If
Mm.
you're an investment head, and I know some of you are, currently they're looking for a 5 million max goal, but they've raised a little over three. There are 27 days left to invest, and you will, if you choose to invest in these things, do not take your financial advice from me. But if this is something you're into, I imagine, normal folks listening, it will be on the lower tiers. You can just put some shares in and you will own a portion of the IP that this crowdfunding will make. You will see returns on those shares. You can have them and sell them. You will get share certificates and all those things that buying shares get you. And you will be owning a piece of the projects that Eli Roth is going to make. And he has said as a result of this, having funded these movies, which, he makes a very good case. He speaks about it very well in the intro videos and says, hey, look, I, you know, I am a credible horror director. I know that how I can make films that make money. And what I don't like is these production studios having to pull the strings and tell me what I can and can't put in my movies. Crowdfund me, and I will make a film that I want to make. I will make it as horrible as you like. And then you can own a piece of this. If you happen to be very rich, there are loads of different investment tiers from going from just actually getting a share of the profits and so on to medium tier things. You get like, film posters, you get limited edition other things and that they send you. If you happen to have um $1 million kicking about, you can be in the film and be killed.
For
Oh,
a sweet million.
Yeah, sweet mill dollars, us
Yeah,
dollars.
that's true.
Um, but yeah, if you wish to be killed by Eli Roth on screen and perhaps have a prosthetic head of yourself to keep forever, then that's what you can do.
How would
But
you be done, Andy? How
I
would you
guess you
be?
have to. How would I be killed by? I mean, based on today, eaten from the inside out in a sleeping bag by rats.
A little bloodless rat head poking out your mouth.
Yeah,
Yep, I'm sold. Perfect.
get some rats to steer me about like a mech later on before they explode out of me.
Yeah. Uh,
How about
cool.
you, Ben? You've asked the
Cool,
question. Now
cool,
it's
cool.
been turned upon you.
How would I be killed? Let's stick with sleeping bag and let's have wazzed against a tree and exploded in the sleeping bag, just
But
like
but a
classic.
bear,
No,
like
like in Friday the 13th.
like in Friday the 13th, but also in that film with the
the
bear
prophecy,
called The
the bear
Prophecy.
explodes that little boy in the
Oh,
sleeping bag
really?
like a
Isn't it crazy that there are two pretty much identical sleeping bag kills in different movies?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Jason is more visceral about it. He takes a few swings at that sleeping bag. That bear just punches that kid
Mm,
once. And when I say kid, he is a little boy. And he's like, right,
yeah.
that's it. Get into the tree, mate.
And then we find the trifecta of sleeping bag mush murders we got in the monkey this year, didn't we?
Yeah.
So that's good. I'm glad it
Alice,
finally happened.
how would you have Eli Roth
Um,
eliminate you? Sleeping bag optional.
I would either like to, if I think I was going to be a movie and be killed, I would like to be decapitated, bisected, or bisected in some way, like a,
It's good.
you
I
know,
like it. But
Halved like halved by an elevator like that man
yeah.
in Final Destination.
oh God, yeah.
I like that he's halved an elevator like that way, and in
Yes.
13 Ghosts, the lawyer is halved that way.
Yeah.
I love an elevator. Like, that's a door, but,
Yeah.
I love a good
I'd like
vivisection. Is that?
Yeah. Be like that dog in Return of the Living Dead. Proper like bisected.
Yeah.
maybe get done in like in the Resident Evil laser corridor as well. I
Cubed.
wouldn't mind that. Cubed, yeah. Turned into yeah, cubes.
A, a fine mist.
Turned into a fine mist. Yeah. What a way to go. Okay. So, next section of the show, what we've been watching, anything you've seen in the last 7 days or so. that you'd like to recommend or share or not recommend? Maybe tell us something was terrible. Alice, have you seen anything recently? You
I
said you
mean,
saw.
so I watched the new Final Destination
Yes.
movie, which I did enjoy.
Mm,
My only critique of it was still a slightly too heavy reliance on CGI gore. I think it would
yeah.
have been better had some of the things been more practical. But I did like some of the gore. Um, Todd Masters did the special effects, and he
Okay.
could have pulled it out of the bag a bit more. I think
Yeah. Do you
he's done
have?
some good work in the past. Not
Yeah.
his
What?
best.
What has he done? What has he worked on before?
He's worked with James Gunn a couple of times. So did you see Super?
Oh
Yes.
yeah.
So
Oh my
Elliot
God. Of
Page's
course.
head when it's all like
Yeah.
smashed off, he did that. And he did Sliver. He did
Oh
Marley
wow.
and Me. Um,
Oh no. Wait. What did he do in Marley Me?
I
Owen
don't I
Wilson's
don't
hair.
I don't think his usual things. And he did something quite recently as well. He does loads of stuff, and he's usually like he's
Yeah.
I think these days he's more like supervisor, but he still does do some special effects. So I think he could have done. I think the gore could have been slightly better, but
Mm.
I liked the characters more. The
Yeah.
last two movies, 5 and 4, have the most boring, worst characters
Absolutely.
of the whole series.
This was pretty much what we said on last week's episode was that everyone in this like it feels like 4 and 5 had to have a checklist like douchebag character.
I watched 5 before seeing 6 again because I was like,
Yeah,
oh, okay. And it was much worse than I remember. It's actually a very
absolutely. Yeah.
bad movie. Um, I didn't enjoy it the second time watching it.
No.
The characters all annoy me, and it was really apparent that it was definitely rewritten. It was definitely meant to be high schoolers and a teacher,
Yeah.
and then they just like, we're going to make it office workers. It didn't make
Yeah.
any sense.
Working at like a paper mill or paper.
A paper company that has a factory, like
Very
so
weird.
confusing. But
But
yeah,
but I think the family dynamic in this one was so much better. Did you have a favorite death in this in Final?
I mean the MRI death obviously
Yeah,
was
Right Death was
was
really
great.
good. I
Yeah.
like the
Um,
bin lorry as well.
yes, and again, some practical effects there and things that I
They've been sharing
appreciated.
some behind the scenes bits, haven't they? I don't know if you've seen it on the Final Destination Instagram. They've been sharing some behind the
I
scenes.
saw some of that. Yeah, spoiler. What Eric's death really reminded me of is the It TV movie. If you ever saw that, with the bully goes into the pipe. Do you remember that bit?
Yes.
That's like one of my favorite like PG kills ever. There's like no blood in that, but he gets like sucked into a
Henry
pipe. So it
Bowers
reminded
getting like
Oh,
bended
okay, I got
backwards.
you.
Yeah, so it
on the
reminded me of
pipe.
that, and I appreciated that. I liked that was great.
And it reminded me a little bit of, I mean, I'm sure other people have done this as well, with obviously the MRI firing up um, Crossbar into the comics world. There is like an Ultimate X-Men run where Magneto escapes from prison, and they have a character. I think it's the ultimate version of Dazzler, who is like a punk and has loads of
Hmm.
different like piercings, and then you find out he has escaped by all of a sudden all of her piercings getting torn out.
Ooh,
And that is, recreated wonderfully on film
yeah,
for that
yeah,
MRI bit.
yeah. I think the last kill of this movie was really bad though. It just looked bad. And then the credits
Oh,
rolled. I was like, oh,
yeah.
this looks terrible.
Logs.
Yeah. Blade
Yeah,
2, sort of Blade 2 at level CGI, all of a sudden everyone, you're not a real person anymore.
yeah. It looked bad.
Why doesn't death come for you unless you realize death's coming for you? It feels like if you're just
It's just a bit sneaky, bit of a
very
jokester.
sneaky, isn't
Yeah.
it?
If that doctor hadn't well actually
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
well,
actually,
actually, of
Well,
course, she wouldn't have really been
Maybe
dead.
Def wasn't listening. He was like, I can't
yeah.
believe these guys got off. And then he was like, hang on,
Hang on a
yeah,
minute.
bloody hell. Oh.
I suppose.
Yeah,
Does Death have to be a doctor? Possibly not.
No.
that's true.
But yeah, I mostly enjoyed it. I thought the characters made much more sense and were much more enjoyable to be on screen, like to
Yeah.
watch. And I think it pitched the humor and horror quite well.
Mm.
Um,
You're right. They all had a thing. Like everyone,
and
everyone
I
had a
thought,
personality rather than a gimmick. Rather than in Final Destination 5, her thing is that she wears glasses, but
oh,
otherwise,
Did you that isn't there a weird thing in Final Destination 5 where someone like tries to fat shame a woman who's like
oh yeah,
very clearly, you know,
yeah. So the person that does first fat shames the person that dies with a laser, and she's like significantly skinnier than her for a start. and she's just very, very thin and
She's
frail.
very, very thin, and she gets fat shamed, and she says, "Actually, these are called tits. You should look them up," or something like that. I don't know, something like that. It's so weird,
Yeah. And
so
yeah,
weird.
rewatching the fifth one, I did not like it. I think the fourth and the fifth one really suffered because they were both shot in 3D.
Yeah,
The fourth one is kind of laughably bad 3D, where the fifth one is
yeah.
just like some of it just looks really
There's a
bad.
moment in the fourth one where somebody pops a cork in a bottle of champagne, and that's in like 3D.
I
You
know.
like go, what? Oh,
Nothing
And
will ever
I
top the Friday the 13th yo-yo for 3D.
yeah, woo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
anything else at all,
Um,
Alice?
I not a new movie, but me and my boys recently watched Raiders of the Lost Ark. So I've got a 4-year-old and a 7-year-old,
Hell yeah.
and their two favorite bits were the big guy getting his head like smashed off by the plane propeller. They thought that
Yep.
was great.
Classic.
And then when it was coming to the end of the movie, I was like, okay, boys, I'm just going to let you know what kind of happens. Like, a lot of people die here. It's quite gruesome. Somebody melts. So, like, we don't have to watch it. They were like, we want to watch it. And that was their favorite bit of the movie. The
They liked it.
guys, yeah,
Oh,
they
hell
loved the
yeah.
face melting.
That bit used to genuine like I used to be scared of that bit. Real scared.
Yeah. So they were big fans of face melting.
I think your boys have grown up very well, Alice. I think
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
doing all right.
Although, so my youngest is called Sully, and he's named after a movie called Sullivan's Travels, which is like a very nice film from
Mm.
the 40s, all about like making people laugh is important. And Sully asked me like, "Oh, what am I named after?" And I told him, and then he went, "Ash, what are you named after?" And Ash just went, "Oh, I don't want to talk about it."
Oh, I'm sick
That's
of
very
always
good.
answering this question.
I mean, you
Um,
brought it up now, Alice. I'm very surprised that Bruce Campbell didn't make it onto your mountain.
Yeah, it's true.
yeah, I mean, I'm just, I would struggle who to
Who to bump?
remove. I mean, like, if I could have many, many people, he would probably be there.
Yeah.
Um, and well, maybe Sam Raimi. Oh, there's too many people to think of. Um, but yeah,
Mm.
Ash knows he's named after Bruce Campbell, and uh, yeah,
That is good. I mean, technically, you don't need to like if anyone says, "Well, you didn't put Ash Williams on the," but I did name my firstborn after him, so there is
yeah.
that.
Also,
Okay.
his middle name is William.
That's good.
He's
And
like,
his first, and I don't know, actually, maybe you recorded one previously. He was nicknamed Belial in the first podcast appearance.
yes,
In
yeah,
his first podcast appearance,
yeah.
certainly.
In his first podcast appearance, he was Bilal. Yeah.
uh, Andy, have you seen anything this week?
Um, it's been a fairly slim week. Real life horrors, everybody. We lost one of our dogs last
Oh,
week, so it has been a sucky week. So I have not watched very much. But if you want to pay tribute to my departed Axel, he's on the episode art for whatever episode The Thing was. Back when we covered it there,
Sure
he is
is.
in the thumbnail image with us. He appears on the show, bless him, all those years ago. Um, but I did get a little bit of time, sadly, for everyone listening. Does mean I am behind on Friday the 13th because I wanted to be in the right mood to watch it. I wouldn't want to be too sad to enjoy it. But I have watched another couple of episodes of Terabytes. The last few episodes of the horror video game
Yes.
documentary dropped. So we had our intro into survival horror. We talked about narrative horror stories. We had the FMV revolution for episode 3. We've talked about those. We finished up with 2 episodes. The fourth one was about indie horror games, which obviously we've seen such an explosion of in recent years. Um, Really, really great deep dive. I can only say, I mean, we're going to talk about it a little more, I'd imagine, in a future episode, Ben. So I'm just going to touch on it briefly
Mm.
now.
Yeah.
But um, all I can say, having watched that episode on sort of indie horror gems, is that the damage to my Steam library has been irreparable.
Oh
There have
God.
been so many games that I just had that. Oh, this is on sale right now, you say? Well, I might as well buy it because when I'm saving money, not spending it. So we did all that, and then the fifth episode was almost inevitably about the controversies surrounding horror video games as well. And I learned, I don't want to there's tons of really good stuff about the controversy. There's some really brilliant stuff about Thrill Kill and what happened with that game for the PlayStation, the game that countless
Mm.
people have played pirated versions of because it was never released, but it was leaked. And most importantly, the fact I took away was the same gentleman who directed Night Trap, um, whose girlfriend left him because after the controversy, I don't normally associate with the man who's peddled such filth. He then went on and made a fortune making dogs and by extension cats and oddballs, I guess, those little virtual pets that used to hang out on your Windows 95 desktop.
Oh yeah. Oh, I thought you were gonna
Throw a
say
little
like the
ball, throw a little
Nintendo
ball for him, put the
3DS.
fall down. No, no, not that one. I mean, Nintendo probably made countless more money, but dogs with a Z. He made that
Oh,
after he made
I
Night
got
Trap.
you.
He was like, "Well, I'll make something completely different then, shall I?" And that's what he went to do.
Very different.
Really good documentary. The detail in it is incredible. Really worth checking out. I believe if you didn't back it when it was just running, you can now just buy it digitally. So if you want to catch that, all 5 episodes are now available. You will not be disappointed if you like your horror video games. It
Mm,
is very extensive. It is to horror video games what In Search of Darkness is for horror movies.
amazing. Looking forward to it. I've got 2 episodes to catch up on, so I'll be completing that this week, hopefully.
And besides that, Ben, the only other thing I watched in present company would be perfect for it. It was Felissa Rose's birthday last week, so
Oh,
the last week, so I watched Sleepaway Camp, of course.
a
But
good choice.
yeah,
Always favourable, and obviously Alice always reminds you when I don't believe watching the film independently of the version you introduced back at Bristol Bad Film Club those years ago. I'd never noticed that man's moustache before.
I've still got a T-shirt of Frank, police officer Frank with the moustache.
yeah.
What a film! Yeah,
What a film.
still beloved. I know that the second one has some Probo stuff in it, but I might have to go back and do it one of these days.
Yeah, it's just a bit meaner.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. My favorite part of the second one is like, oh, well, if you're gonna take me out, you might as well just kill me. Okay, that's still one of my favorite bits. Then
Yeah.
drilled. Yeah, we'll return to that franchise again one day, Ben.
Yeah, I think we should. We definitely need to. Just a couple of things for me that I've watched this week. First of all, Prom Queen, Fear Street, the new Fear Street
Oh,
movie, which came out on Netflix. I think it premiered last Friday. Um, Probably not as good as that trilogy we got a couple of years ago. Feels a little bit more derivative, but it's perfectly fine. You know, it's fine as a slasher. It's got a couple of interesting twists in it. Um, the cast are really good. There's like a really in terms of a mean girl, someone that is so easy to hate, which I think is is perfect. Pretty good. It's the this killer is like in a sort of a red Mac, so it looks like a tall version of the little dwarf lady from Don't Look Now. Like
Red Mac though, so like Nega Georgie.
yeah, yeah, Nega Georgie, exactly that. And there's loads of like faces where you're like, oh my God, is that? There's like, what's his name? Oz from American Pie's in it, Chris Klein. You've got Lily Taylor from The Conjuring, she's in it as well. Someone I was like, who is that? I can't work out who it is for ages and ages and ages. It's Catherine Waterston from Alien Covenant, the Ripley replacement from Alien Covenant. Just like she's got a slightly different haircut, and I was like, I didn't even recognize her. But she's in it as well, and I feel like there's a bit of a setup for what might potentially be the next movie, which it feels like it's going to be some sort of satanic panic thing they're going to do
Okay.
next. So
Is it still Shady Side and not Shady Side?
this is the thing, right? It is Shady Side, but like it just feels like it doesn't really feel connected to those other films for some reason. It feels just like a complete one-off, but yeah,
Okay.
it's
Would you recommend it more or less than Prom Night 2?
oh
Hello,
God.
Mary Lou.
I mean, I recommend that one more so. This
So
one,
that's a belter as well.
I
that
was
is a
gonna
belter.
say you're not gonna badmouth
No,
Prom Night 2, are
No,
you?
how I
not
would
for a second.
never.
I was about to slam my laptop down and get out of here.
I would never.
Everyone's gone on the show anymore. Why? What did you say? Well, sorry, but we slated this. Prom
Yeah,
night
No,
two.
I
Um,
would never. Best of the series.
yeah.
and
I mean,
the other,
it wasn't actually a prom night movie until they were like, ah, we'll just call it that.
yeah, it did feel like that, didn't it? Hello,
And
Mary.
then takes over the rest of the Prom Night series.
Is that what it did?
Yeah,
I've not got to part three. Um, And the other movie I watched is The Vanishing, but I watched the US remake, the one with Kiefer Sutherland, Jeff Bridges, and Sandra Bullock. Um, Weird because it's a remake of the 1988 French-Dutch film of the same name, directed by the same person, George Sluizer. Um, I don't know if either of you are familiar with this film. I think I kind of
No.
like seen a few bit. Jeff Bridges is basically just a normal run-of-the-mill guy. He's a teacher. He's a family man, and then he just one day decides, I'm gonna bloody kidnap someone. I really fancy it,
As you
and
do.
and he kidnapped.
Bucket list.
It's weirdly comical. It's almost like I don't think it's played for laughs, but it's like weirdly comical. Like he's a bit bumbling. He's a bit rubbish.
He's
Um,
Mr. Bean in this whole
He's a bit
kidnapping.
Mr. Bean. Yeah, there's a lot of like him. Yeah, it's very silly. There's a bit where he goes, "You can't hide in these woods. I know I'm like the back of my hand," and then he like falls over. That's good. I like that. Uh, but Kiefer Sutherland. So Sandra Bullock goes missing. Kiefer Sutherland's like, "Bloody hell, where'd she go?" And he basically becomes like obsessed for years trying to find where she went. And then for some reason,
Is it
Jeff
his
Bridges.
job to obsess about it? Is he like a policeman or
No, no, no. He's just a man.
just Sandra Bullock's gone missing? Bloody
Sandra
hell, I'm gonna look into this.
Um, there's two horrors in this film, right? First of all, Jeff Bridges is like, oh, someone's looking for her. I kind of like that. That I like to observe him in pain and him suffering.
He's looking at him, looking for him
Yes, he is. He's looking at him, looking for, yeah, exactly.
himself.
But another horror is that like, and it's not really a horror because in a way it's kind of beneficial to Kiefer Sutherland. But he gets a new girlfriend, Kiefer Sutherland, and she's ever so obsessive, but in a way, like in a beneficial way. We're like, oh, if she wasn't so obsessive, this wouldn't have happened. A, B, and C. So it's
So he gets a new really attentive girlfriend that saves him
so
from
attentive.
dangers.
It's ridiculous. At one point, she like proper hacks into his computer as well to try and find out what book he's writing. No, I won't spoil it. It's worth checking out. It's not amazing, but it's entertaining enough. I think if the apparently a lot of people say the original film is better, so I do kind of want to go and watch that. But yeah, The Vanishing. The reason he's bumbling as well is because the main character Jeff Bridges' name's Barney. This bloke who's
Giant
he's so,
purple dinosaur
yeah.
trying to kidnap a Sandra Bullock.
He does a chloroform test at one point where he like chloroforms himself to see how long he stays asleep for.
What if you got knocked out and left it on your face?
And then when at one point he's trying to abduct someone and he like sneezes into it and then goes like, "Oh," it's like probably Three Stooges.
That sounds.
Oh my
So what's
God.
he sets his watch? 3, 2, 1, go. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
I passed out.
I think like this is the thing. Everything I read about it, I was like, "Well, this sounds sinister. This sounds," but unfortunately, I didn't really get the sinister side. I just got the comedy side, the comedy side from poor Jeff
My,
Bridges.
my immediate thought now is like, yeah, actually, how long does chloroform last?
Yeah. Apparently, it actually it's unrealistic in films that it takes mere seconds to make someone pass out. I think it does
That's a
take
shame. I need something to help me sleep at night.
just a little bit in a tissue. Ooh.
Yeah.
Um, and it is a proper feel bad movie as well. There's nothing good happens. Like, it's just one of those where you go, oh well, oh, oh well. I wonder what's on next.
You sit down like the end of an episode of Law and Order and do a big sigh.
It's like that, yeah. Oh, everyone's lives are ruined. Great.
Does it,
Um,
I don't want to spoil the ending, but does he end up in like a desolate town? Is that
no,
different movie?
no, that might
Okay,
be a
that's
different one.
different.
Yeah, no, Desolate Town.
Yeah, I went on a road trip once, and all of a sudden, me and my husband realised we were on a film set.
Oh,
Oh wow.
um,
as you do.
yeah, yeah,
I
We better
suppose
chlor.
better that than oh no, we've gone to bloody Eden Lake.
yeah.
Oh
Uh-oh.
God, we better
Don't tell those
chloroform.
boys to turn that music down.
We better chloroform our way out of this situation. Oh,
See, if you had chloroform, you could get out of almost any situation. Awkward conversation at the office.
yeah, chloroform. Are they all right? No. Um, would I recommend it? Yeah, why not? It's not the best film, but I think because of the like level of stars that are in it, it kind of feels better than it is. Does that make
Just
sense?
seeing side by side, the remake wasn't on my watch list. I've added it based on your description, but the original was on my watch list. And looking at people I know's reviews side by side, it's a bit night and day. I can see your 2.5 stars, Ben. I can see a couple of other 2.5 stars. Then I look at the 1988 version, and it's like 5, 4.5, 4.5, 5.
Oh, right. Okay. There we go. Well, to be fair, I've done it the wrong way around, haven't I? But I think The Vanishing was on In Search of Darkness, the 1990 to 1995 one. Is that right?
Okay.
Yeah. So that was what made me put it on the list originally. But yeah, there we go. But that was it. That was it. I mean, I had a
Apart from,
nice.
of course, some idiot suggested everyone get together and watch the film of the week.
Yes, indeed. Someone suggested that we should watch a movie called Rats, Night of Terror, and that is a 1984 post-apocalyptic horror film directed by Bruno Mattei. Is that how you said it? Mattei. Directed by Bruno Mattei, about a biker gang that find themselves trapped in an abandoned research lab fighting for their lives against hordes of bloodthirsty killer rats. I say, just leave them alone. You're in their territory. Get the hell out of there, for God's sake.
Just stay
Um,
riding about on your bikes incredibly slowly.
no rats were harmed in the making of this film. IMDb 4.7 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes, it didn't even have an audience score, Andy. Not enough reviews.
They didn't even know.
31% critic score. Letterbox 2.7 out of 5. And some choice reviews from Letterbox. Kaiju Man says, it's like Night of the Living Dead, but with a bunch of well-armed bikers losing horribly to a bunch of fucking rats. They do lose horribly as well. It's embarrassing. 4 stars. Justin Declue says, there are two kinds of scares in the world. One, an unmoving body is turned over to reveal it's crawling with rats. Two, somebody pours a bucket of rats on someone. This one has both, hundreds of times. 3.5 stars. Bob McQueen says, absolutely wonderful, bonkers, post-apocalyptic, Italian rat-infested landscape. It's got everything. 4 stars. And then Charlie Ridgely says, as close to a sleepaway camp ending as I've ever seen. 3 stars.
Maybe this is why I liked it so much.
Right.
Do you know, though, everybody, trivia-wise as well, not only were no rats allegedly harmed, but apparently sometimes it was difficult to get as many rats. So in some cases, legend is that they are painted guinea pigs.
Oh,
Oh, are they? See, because there was one rat, right, that was white, wasn't it? And it had like
yeah, that
a
was the rat leader
that
that
was the
I'm
rat. That was like
inferring.
Spike. That was like Spike
Yeah.
from Gremlins,
Yeah.
wasn't it? But my wife, she said, "Oh, I reckon they're all like rats or other like rats and mice painted black. Because if you look, they've all got like white patches." And I was a bit like, I don't know if I
Yeah,
believe that.
apparently there are some
But now
painted
you've
guinea
said
pigs.
that,
Well, that's another nice tie into Sleepaway Camp because they painted the leaves in that because it was shot in the autumn, but it's meant to be set in summer.
what a job! Can we just set this film in autumn instead?
Is there not a
Get
pine
them,
forest we can do this in?
get
No.
them leaves painted immediately. Also, I feel like
Stapling them in the trees.
I
that
think they
end.
might have actually done that too.
Oh, that ending. Now, of course, you're going to spoil everything in this movie, but that ending could have tried a bit harder at making that person look like a rat man, right? It looked like some fur stuck on one of those white masks you get from Hobbycraft. Just some fur stuck on it. A
That's what
completely
rat people
flat,
would look like then.
a completely flat fur face. Yeah. Did you gasp at the screen, Andy, when that happened?
I mean, I chuckled with absolute delight at that lovely little rat face that we get in this film.
Did you see it coming?
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean, yeah.
what I love is the commitment to the bit. Like, I rewound a little bit. Even before the reveal, that person in the gas mask has got a rat face the entire time because you can see in to the mask.
You can.
Yeah, they got like a little rat face the whole time when they're out there gassing all the rats later.
Gassing the bloody rats out of order. Isn't it? I mean, this is for a post-apocalyptic landscape. This essentially takes place in one factory slash. Is it a factory? Some sort of lab.
Slash entire landscape, deserted town.
Yeah,
But obviously, we open with the hallmark of any quality movie.
massive title crawl.
Yeah, massive title crawl with narration.
So, yeah, let's quickly talk about the cast a second. So, in terms of the cast, we've got. So, this is another one of those Italian movies that's like dubbed in English, but a lot of the actors are American as well. Well, not a lot of them,
Mhm.
but some of them are.
She was American.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Goretta Squared was American. So Ottaviano Dell'Acqua as Kurt, Massimo Vanni as Taurus, Gianni Franco as Video, Goretta as Chocolate. Yes, that's right. And Giselle Glass as Myrna, Cindy Ledbetter as Diana. I recognize that name. No, maybe there's another Led, yeah. Um, yeah, bloody hell. It's 225 years after a nuclear holocaust, or they call it AB, don't they? Like after the bomb.
After the bomb. Yeah.
It's set in 2015. Um, Obviously, unfortunately, it was nowhere close to what 2015 ended up looking like.
Well,
Yeah.
no, so the nuclear blast was in 2015, and it's 225 years
Oh
after
God, yes.
After that.
No,
2015.
you're right. Silly me for completely misunderstanding. There weren't any rats around in
So
2015. Rat
basically,
people.
everyone was so angry that they never got to the Back to the future that they just bombed. Well, if they're not going to do it, then no self-tying shoes, bomb the shit out of it.
Jesus.
Very
That's
quickly,
it.
I was in America on the Back to the Future day, and I was in a hotel, and I woke up in the morning, and there was a newspaper outside, and it had the newspaper cover from the movie, and
Did
I've still
it?
got it somewhere. Yeah,
Oh
Oh,
wow,
that's
that is
very
it
cool.
was
cool.
really nice.
Did then you go out into the streets and then look for someone trying to hoverboard across water,
Yeah,
and then you could yell at them. Become butt heads.
sorry, I digress.
It's annoying. It's because everything that's kind of established in this isn't really covered, is it? Again, like survivors being divided between those who live comfortable in underground
People
cities,
live comfortably underground, but then some people just got sick of that. So
the
went,
new primitives.
let's go and be primitives. Primitives that know the name of diseases and have motor cars and
Yeah.
have a video game obsession, despite the fact they've probably never seen one.
Video game obsession. There's that guy, the monk guy with the triangle on his head. He's read some books, so he's aware that somebody wrote about rats in a book. They went, rats used to just in the sewers. There's like loads of them.
And he's played
Okay.
Assassin's Creed. He does Requiescat in Pace when they burn all those bodies. And he goes, "What does that mean?" It's just words, but it was used to bless the dead.
Yeah,
Just read it
I
in a
mean,
great book, mate.
I don't want to nitpick, but if there was an atomic bomb and civilization's gone, firstly, you're absolutely right. There's going to be no video games, wherever they come from. Also, there'd be no chocolate.
Yeah.
So her being called chocolate is stupid for two reasons. One, because it's really racist to be like, we'll just call a black character chocolate. But two, none of them would have ever eaten chocolate. None of them would have heard of chocolate. Doesn't make any
No
sense.
one would have a point of reference for her
No,
being called chocolate.
no.
Maybe they did have obviously the bomb dropped in 2015, so they will have had the song by Shanks and Bigfoot, "Sweet Like Chocolate," and maybe when she was born, she was ever so sweet, and they went, "We'll call her chocolate."
Fuck
Like
me.
a folk song, Sweet Like Chocolate,
Yeah.
is just sung round
Yeah.
campfires.
Yeah.
Sweet like. Oh my God.
So that's how they named her. Meanwhile, the name Kurt is still
And
going
also
strong.
there's still petrol.
Yeah.
There's still
And just
petrol
new
and like
cars.
and cars and motorbikes that like work. Like 200 years later, they would have just been just
Yeah.
rusted
Yeah.
to crap. Kurt looks like George Michael in the White Christmas video.
I quite like the fact that
Last
he
Christmas. Sorry.
has a flamethrower,
Yeah.
and he's called Kurt. So
Oh,
a bit
okay,
like Kurt
that's
Russell in the
obvious,
thing.
isn't
So I've
it?
been calling him Kurt Hustle. Um,
Kurt Hustle.
Kurt Hustle. Why are you wearing a red curtain around your neck as well, Kurt? For God's sake, you should be
It's
gone.
a lovely neckerchief.
I love the infighting as well when there's like the guy who wants to like take over as the leader. Oh my
the
Was that
God.
Duke,
Duke?
the
Duke,
Duke.
yeah.
If this was remade, um, you would have Matt Berry play Duke. He would be
Yeah.
so good. This has got quite a Garth Marenghi production value about it.
Yeah, absolutely. It really does. Also, how starving are they that when they find a big old bag of flour, they just start chewing? Bloody hell.
Oh,
Oh, mouthful of flour. Oh, lovely.
I know, and also like just sugar as well, just eating sugar.
Bag of sugar.
Just like,
Cavities.
no, man.
This,
yeah.
yeah. And also, do you remember what chocolate gets flour all over it? And she
Yeah.
shouts, I'm whiter than you guys, doesn't
Yeah.
she? The sheer obsession from whoever wrote this film with the fact that we've got a black character in this film. It's
Let's have a bloody
broad.
good laugh when we just find just a big box full of staple goods. Oh, look at this dry rice.
Apparently, she had to translate her own lines into
Oh,
English with a pocket dictionary.
no way. That is insane.
Yeah,
A pocket dictionary.
a pocket dictionary.
You want me to say what? After I've covered myself in flour?
Just
This is actually
say it.
this.
Just
She's in
say it.
another movie that Bruno, whatever his name is. What is his
Yeah,
name?
she is.
Yeah.
Is it
So I
called?
mean, obviously she liked working with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Is
maybe
it
not obviously, but
Shocking Dark is the one, isn't it?
yes, yeah, the
Oh, wait, that's the
Terminator
Terminator
rip-off.
one.
That's the
Yeah,
Terminator.
Shocking Dark, also known as Terminator 2, Terminator 2 with two eyes, Terminator 2 with the number 2, Aliens 2, Alienators, and Contaminator. That's all the alternative titles for it.
lovely stuff.
Although the film was promoted as a rip-off of the Terminator, it was primarily a rip-off of Aliens.
Yeah,
I want to see this now. But yeah, she was on
Looking at
fire
this, I'm
working on it.
adding it on there, but a a film critic that I follow called Alexei Toliopoulos has written a review of it. He said he simply adores rip-off screen culture, and he's even done a screening of it. So this is
Oh,
going straight on the watch list as well.
yeah. But yeah, I think she's obviously in Demons as well. But I think she's always good when she's on screen. She participates a lot in Search of Darkness, talking about some of these films. So
mm.
she always seems like someone who enjoyed her time working on some of these slightly naff movies. Not Demons. I'm not calling Demons naff, but or Rats. You know, I'm sure there's a lot
At
of
this
big fans
moment,
of Rats out there. So yeah, this group of 11 people turn up at a mysterious abandoned village, aka the set of Once Upon a Time
Yeah.
in America. Is that right?
I mean, it happens. Like I said, I came across the film set.
yeah, it could happen.
I like that this movie opens with like over 4 minutes of incredibly slow motorbike riding. Just and also like when they get to the town, I don't know what the direction is, but they're all just looking around, but in all different directions. Everyone's just like it's really sorry, that's not good for the podcast, is it?
Yeah.
Imagine me looking around.
Yeah. Well, these are, obviously they are the new primitives, so they
Mm,
are, they've never seen a film set before or big
mm,
buildings. They do know
Exactly.
universally every ingredient. Once they've encountered it, they can just
yeah.
from sight go, "This is sugar."
Lovely bit of
Straight away.
sugar. Um, so yeah, I mean, despite the presence of numerous horribly mutilated corpses, the adventurers decide to settle in town after discovering a large amount of food, a
S-
greenhouse.
So this is it, isn't it? Because before they go and discover all the we found wonderful and mysterious things, they find all this food in the first room they walk into.
Yeah.
And after they've had the flour and the sugar, oh, have a bit of this. Honestly, it's like family dinner around at your grandma's house. Oh, try a bit of this. Everyone's bought of it, and they're all getting stuck in. And then who's their mate who's really flaky? And then she just goes, "Let's have a look what's on this camp bed," and then loses her mind
Oh
because
yeah.
Oh yeah,
it's
like
a fellow
absolutely.
eaten to the bone by rats.
They would have
I
seen a
mean, I
dead
made a
body.
note of that, which is dead guy in bed, eaten by rats, 10 out of 10.
Yeah. Sometimes, when you've had,
But
especially.
but post reveal screaming, 2 out of 10. The screaming
Yeah.
goes on for so long.
Screaming goes on forever. Also,
The leader tells her
post-apocalyptic.
off. He goes, "What's that screaming about? You've
Yeah, she
seen a
goes,
dead
enough
body
with the
before."
screaming. I was like, yeah, enough with the
They would have
screaming.
seen a dead body before these guys, right? Why is she
Oh
acting like that?
yeah.
The leader even says that you've seen dead people all the time. What are you screaming at? We've just got flour there. Screams of happiness, if you don't mind. I don't know if you've seen that, but our one black friend has covered themselves completely in flour. She did a really good joke, and you're here not enjoying that.
Yeah, you're bringing the vibe down.
You're bringing the vibe down. Come on. Also, fish tank full of water.
Mm,
Here it says reservoir. I'm not having that. It's
no.
a it's a fish tank, and they're drinking water like
Straight from it. Yeah,
straight from the
have a
reservoir.
slurp of
This is the
that.
most delicious thing ever. They're drinking it like it's that drink of water when you wake up after a heavy night and your tongue's like cardboard and you
Yeah,
drink
when you wake
water
up looking like one of those people that's been eaten
and,
by
it-
rats, get out of bed. Oh.
and you drink water and it's like the most amazing liquid you've ever tasted. Beautiful. That's why they're reacting to that water. I suppose you would. They probably not had a good water, have they?
A drink of water after you've been sick and you're lying on the bathroom floor, and it's like, oh, the nectar from heaven.
It's elixir of life. They're enjoying nothing like the old shit we usually have. They say. Oh,
And when they're drinking that, because I think rats don't inexplicably just fall into this water and contaminate it in a minute.
yeah, exactly.
And some of the
Um,
other lads are being rude to some rats in the bar. They're like treating them. They're like, "Hey,
yeah.
Ari wants a drink. Let's wazz a beer at this rat."
But for the most part, I do really like the name reveals of people, with the exception of chocolate, which, yeah. Um, but yeah, like we just get introduced to a character called Video Game,
Yeah.
and it's just
Oh,
like,
I'm named after video games, even though none have been made for at least 200
Just call me
years.
video game. Yeah, that's it. It's fine.
and then they just find a guy in a chair and they turn it around. It's nice little psycho reference. And I
Yeah.
think, and someone just says, "Oh, computers and corpses don't mix." Like, how do you know what? Like,
What point of
Matt, how
reference
many
do you have for
computers
that? Yeah.
have you come across?
Yeah.
And also, this is the post-apocalypse. I'm sure computers and corpses almost exclusively mix.
Every time you find them together all the time.
Yeah. These corpses love computers. They're always sat at them. What's wrong with them?
Yeah, I enjoyed meeting like just the mismatch of names because they're a bike gang, and then you've got like video, and then you've also got Taurus. They sort
Yeah,
of, and then you've got Lilith, Diana, Deus, Lucifer.
Lucifer. Yeah,
Why you
why
call
not?
Lucifer? Whoa. He really loves wandering off, having a lovely bottle of whiskey on his own, doesn't he? He goes, I always find myself doing this as well. When I drink something, I go, oh, what a lovely drink. This is a
Yeah,
great drink. I'm enjoying it.
yeah, and
And
this is so the mysterious place that they found this bunker basically has room with food, greenhouse and fish tank,
Mm.
pub.
Yeah.
Pub. It's
Yeah,
really
when
cute.
I'm building a top secret security base, what I always do is ensure that I've installed a pub.
Yeah.
Put like a lounge in it, literally. Oh, it's dartboard here.
Wow, there you go. Even when someone slides a bottle or something along and it hits the rat, that's real, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's
Like
100%
rats were
real.
definitely harmed in this movie.
Yeah, I feel like you're more pressed to find a shot where a rat isn't harmed
Mm.
than find a.
Are being knocked out of the way. Poor rats. No wonder they're so pissed off. If this actually happens to us in real life, just the
I
making
don't
of this
blame you.
film probably means we deserve it.
The rats are quite docile and almost like they don't tend to attack if you're like up in the grill. Do you know what I mean? Like they're not just like randomly seeking out new victims.
I
They're
mean, does the first bit happen with it's Darius, isn't it? With I forget which one of the other lads he's talking to. He's gonna like he's like pretending to hunt the rats when they're just in the pub before anything's kicked off, and he's like, oh, well, he said, oh, you're weak with the strong and strong with the weak, or something along those lines.
mm.
Gives him some like noble advice, and then says, "Yeah, this is a killer rat." You get right up in its face like this, then it bites him on the neck. He's like, "Oh, bloody hell! Ah, ah, it's a rat that's got me."
There's a scene where Lucifer and Lilith are basically just having really loud sex within 3 feet of everybody else.
Where
Yeah.
everyone, yeah.
I-
So this is the night of like they all bed down. They have a lovely camp out. First, Chocolate has bet Video that you can't get that computer working,
yeah.
Yeah.
so he does. And then he goes, oh, then he goes, I'll tell you what, we can have sex if you get this computer working. And then he goes, but Splinter's made it work. You shouldn't. um, and then she gives him a down payment. She gives him a little kiss. And she goes, ah,
Yeah.
no, go to bed now. And then we just have a scene where it's almost as long as the motorcycling scene, where everyone is lying in bed looking pissed off while those two have sex in a sleeping bag.
I mean, not everyone's lying in bed. The bald guy is sleeping, sitting up, meditating.
What are you doing?
This
It's
is
having a
like a D&D
meditation sleep.
party, isn't it? It is like a completely
just
disparate
in
group.
case you didn't know he was like mystic vibes guy. He's
Is
he's
this
got a
just
triangle on his forehead and he sleeps sitting up.
Yeah.
is this just established in this post-apocalyptic world that you don't have any privacy, you just have sex in a room full of other people
Yeah,
mere feet away from them?
Well, they get
yeah.
pissed off about it though. Is it
I think they say
Taurus that
being
gets
too
pissed
loud.
off?
They go, "Oh, give it a rest. Trying to sleep here, and you two are just."
I'm trying to sit awake staring at I'm raw dogging life.
He's
Just
raw
sitting here
dogging life.
staring at
Someone
the
else is
wall
getting raw
until
dogged,
morning.
mate. So they
And he
go off.
goes, listen, I'm going to count to three, and then I'm going to come and pull you apart. And he goes, all right then. I suppose we're going to have sex outside, but then for plot reasons, they're like, the zip stuck on this. I can't. I love how annoyed he is. Lucifer is like, it'd be much easier to leave and have sex outside if you just help me unzip this. If you could come to the rescue any time now, and then a couple of them go, all right then. And he goes, how did you unzip that? And he said something like calmness. It is a virtue of the strong. Now piss off
Yeah.
outside.
Lucifer and Lilith have a bit of an argument, don't they? What causes that?
But he's pissed off outside because I don't feel like having sex now. Actually, they've really mugged me
This
off.
is when we get the full frontal male nudity, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah,
That's what we really want to talk about here, Andy.
yeah. So at first he's annoyed that he doesn't want to have sex anymore because everyone laughed at him for being stuck in a sleeping bag. But then,
I mean, that I reckon if I was in the mood, that would get me out of the mood pretty quickly.
bear
'Cause
in mind,
it's kind of humiliating
you have been able to get into the mood
in front of everyone else.
while in a room full of your friends,
I mean, maybe
actively
that's
telling
what
you to
it
stop
is.
having
Maybe he
sex.
actually needs an audience.
Yeah.
And he's just like, I'm not in
Yeah,
the mood now because they laugh, but in actual fact,
He's
he
like,
likes
oh
having
no,
an
I can only
audience.
do it when Duke's watching.
yeah.
I look
Um,
at him dead in the eye.
so yeah, he's not in the mood now, but then Lilith is able to get him in the mood. And then while they do some hanging around having full frontal nudity, he then goes, should we have some more sex? And she gently teases him and goes, oh no, I can't keep up with you. You're too much, mate. I need a little rest. And he goes, fuck. He like completely loses his mind immediately.
When he's naked, he does a really weird like squat down as well at one point, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Which I found
Yeah, like the nudity is really interesting because they clearly wanted to have some nudity in it, but then they like shot it like in shadow and darkness, so it wasn't too much.
yeah.
But yeah.
He
Yeah,
goes
so
off and he starts getting pissed up, starts having a
he
drink.
gets a bottle of
Oh,
2020.
he is a lightweight too. He has like one sip and is immediately pissed.
Hey man, yeah.
I guess they haven't had alcohol for 200 years.
This is also the most it's so awkward how he gets attacked. He like sort of falls into a manhole or something, but like falls into it backwards while hanging on. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
what's going
naked.
on?
And like because he is hammered, first he like answers the phone and he's like, "Hey, a phone, something I've probably not seen working in my lifetime. Hello?
Yeah.
Who's there?" He goes, "It's the rats. Are you having a party down there?" And
He's
then
having an
literally
argument with
falls.
the talking clock.
Yeah,
I like the fact that maybe the rats are on the phone to him. Like
Yeah.
we don't know. Maybe they are. They're going squeak, squeak, squeak. You're dead. Squeak, squeak,
He's
squeak.
dead.
We're gonna
yeah.
kill you. Squeak. Fuck you. You know.
What's that? Come down there and say that. I bloody will. Hangs up.
And where do they come from in this bit? Are they just like because they're just being thrown? Yeah, obviously they're
Oh, but
being thrown off screen.
this is definitely they're in a bucket being thrown at
Bucket of
people.
rats.
Yeah.
A bucket of rats being thrown at you while you're trying to stop yourself falling into a manhole awkwardly with your legs until you end up falling to your death. And you don't really see him get killed, do you? Did they just find his body?
Yeah, find him a
Yeah.
bit later. But question for both of you. Imagine yourselves, if you will, young actor, hungry for your role in your big break in Hollywood or indeed Italian cinema. You get offered a part that requires you to get naked and have a bucket of rats thrown over you. What's your fee?
Um, yeah, that's a good
It just
question. What
it
would
could
be
be a
my
breakout role. It could be your
Check us a couple of
first,
lira and you're on.
your big ones. I'll just do it for the crack. I would. I'll just
Yeah,
do
they are going to pay you in exposure, quite literally.
it. Yeah.
Now,
Uh,
these will be live rats we're throwing at your
I'll do
naked
it
body.
for a massive bag of flour and sugar.
Yeah.
That bag of flour may last you weeks. What we have for dinner? Just a big handful of horrible flour.
Just flour.
Just flour. Um, but
Fistful of flour.
No flour mills, obviously, around here. So again, inexplicable
Yeah.
flour and bags of sugar.
They were wicked scientists that were able to reproduce things that were usually abundant on this earth. Now just we've
so
got the whole lab full of crests that you can enjoy as well.
a lab of cress is all on the wet tissue paper is all grown. Uh, so so at the same time, Lilith gets attacked and eaten from the inside.
So
Um,
is
I,
the implication here a rat has crawled into her vagina?
I mean,
Now, come on, it could have been up a bum.
Could have been up with them.
is I mean, I guess that's the implication, or that they like just burrowed into her body and then all the way up and then.
Do
But
they?
they very specifically say a line, there's no blood.
Oh,
So
completely bloodless.
is a bloodless kill and a rat comes out of her mouth. So
There we go. It's got to
it
be.
is bum or vagina.
Yeah.
But even the rat isn't covered in blood. Even the rat
Yeah.
is completely. It's like a clean wipe. The rat is just. The rat has managed to get. The rat just knows its way around the human body, where it's like, oh, I won't cause any damage. I'll just go like
The
that.
rat has not touched the sides. It's
Yeah, he's gone.
Have
Oh,
you ever
it's fine.
seen have you ever seen rats in those mazes? They know all
They
the
do, don't
places
they?
to
Yeah.
go.
they know all the way.
And
I know a rat is, this is a mouse fact, but this also could be made up from a comedy podcast. But apparently, according to comedian Henry Packer, a mouse could get through a biro. That's how small they can make themselves go.
Yeah, no, mice, if they can get their nose through, they can go through. They have like they don't have bones as such. They have like just like squidgy cartilage.
a biro.
A
Yeah,
biro.
A biro. That's insane. Is
yeah.
that true?
Yeah,
'Cause I've heard
do you
about.
remember that episode of The X-Files with tombs? That's
Yes.
what
All
mice
mice are
are.
tombs.
Yeah.
That's more believable than the mouse and the biro.
So, um, so a rat, I guess, is bigger than a mouse. But you know those like four pens. Well, when you go to school, and you get those ones that have all the
Oh
colours of the
yeah.
rainbow, and you will only ever use two.
And you try and push them all up at the same time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
then inevitably unscrew it, and then put the thing down, and just write with all of them at once, and then can't get it to go back together again. Yeah, a rat could probably get through one of those.
Yeah. Madness. So really, a
Yeah,
rat going up someone's arse is very believable and
yeah, that could
possible.
happen. I
Um,
reckon the size of the world, that probably happens to 20 people a day in
Mm.
our world.
almost never. This and then someone called Noah. I think so. Noah is like down in the like grow, all the where the things are growing,
And he's pissed off that they're getting into the
and
water.
the rats start falling into the water. He's like, "You're gonna contaminate the water!" He's chucking the rats out. Poor little drowned rats. And then he ends up going upstairs, literally covered in rats and being absolutely fucked up. Right?
Yeah, so basically, after everyone has sat in silence, and actually, now I can't hear those. It's like when you've had when you've left the washing machine on, or you've like your fridge has been buzzing or something, and once you get used to the sound, they're like, kind of miss the sound of those two having sex now. Should we go and get them to come back in? And
I can't sleep without the
I
sound
can't
of those
sleep.
two shagging.
It's basically like white noise.
Yeah.
So
Or the rainforest or, frogs or
What are
yeah,
you doing? You can't sleep. No, I can't sleep. White noise, green noise, that's like rainforest. So, no, I've got this recording of Lucifer and Lilith having sex on a loop from the film
yeah,
Rat Night of Terror.
yeah, I'm just gonna have to get them to come back and have loud sex so I can get off to sleep. So they go to look. They find Lilith has been murdered. This is before, but in the
they
meantime,
think it's Lucifer at first, don't they?
yeah, this is while Noah is downstairs getting piled rats on him. They go and I love the investigation. They're like, she's got strangle marks on her. In his passion, he's strangled her to death, and everyone's like, no, I can't believe it. Well, it's happened, and then a rat comes out of her mouth. At that time, that's when Noah comes piling up, and he goes, he's covered in rats. There's nothing else for it. I'm gonna have to burn him up with this flamethrower.
Oh, I love that bit. My note was just flamethrower, hell yeah.
Yeah, he just comes up. And goes, he's covered in rats. What was it? It could take several dustings to get those rats off him.
Flamethrower to death. Well, killing all the rats at the same time, and he's gone as well. When he's on fire, it literally cuts to a man, just like someone with a completely different head on, just
And a
like
crash helmet.
a paper mache head and a crash helmet running around on fire. Yeah, absolutely
Does he
brutal.
conveniently fall on the pile of burned bodies? Or do they put him there, do you
Yeah, he might
think?
Yeah,
do.
I think they put him there.
Yeah.
Thank goodness he's gone to where all the other burned bodies are.
Did
It's
Phew.
you?
very considerate of him.
Cheers, mate.
His last act was one of kindness.
Final Destination, Bloodlines, that old lady that ended up on fire in the opening sequence, she's like the oldest,
Person to be
like
set on
stunt,
fire.
yeah, the oldest person to be set on fire in a movie, like as a stunt performer,
Yeah.
not just
She
randomly.
came out of retirement for it.
Did she?
Yeah.
One more job.
One
One
more
more
job.
job.
What do you do for a living? Well, I get lit on fire all the time. Oh yeah,
Do
I'm
you know
coming out
what?
of retirement now.
I bloody love a fire stunt. I'll
Yeah,
never not be happy seeing a fire stunt.
that's always good.
It's
Isn't it?
great every time.
I would have loved
Yeah.
it. I would have equally loved it though if it was an old lady and then it cut away and it was just a bearded man with a
Maybe it
big old.
was her. This was her first role.
Yeah, this is her first role.
Else.
She
Bloody hell.
began with rats, Night of Terror.
Kurt was just itching to use that flamethrower. He don't need any excuse to light someone up. Um, so
Do they
so
find Lucifer's body now, or is it not for a bit?
They find
um,
it relatively quickly, I think. Do they not?
it,
I think they find him around here. Where's
yeah,
Lucifer then? He goes, oh, here he
there he
is.
is. He's down
He's
this
down
side.
here.
Well,
I
it says
think
here,
it's around this time. My favourite line of the whole movie is they're about to open the door, and I think it's Kurt says, "Stay frosty, guys." And then he opens the door, and all these rats are there, and they're immediately not frosty.
not frosty at all.
There's bloody rats everywhere.
Right. So it says hundreds and hundreds of hungry, genetically mutated rats. I reckon there's no more than 30 on screen at once. Maybe
Oh
more.
no, it's definitely more than that. I think it is hundreds.
Hundreds.
I think it
I
is
just can't
hundreds.
count.
And there was a little boy watching this film, Robert Eggers, and he thought, one day I'll have this many rats in my film.
Like if you've got kids, have you ever like poured a bowl of Smarties and you've gone like, there's like 30 Smarties there, and then you've counted them because your kid only
Yeah.
wants the green
Oh yeah,
ones, and then
definitely.
there's like 100.
Yeah. I'm no good at
That's
those things. We're like, guess how many things are in this jar? And I go, oh,
Guess
28.
how many
30.
rats are in this room? 30. No, mate, it's like 200 rats.
It's because they're moving so fast. I can't
Yeah.
count. One.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Two. Oh my god.
Gotta play Mario Party, the little Goomba
Oh god,
counting
yeah.
one.
No, I get stressed at that as well.
I know,
I'm not
it's
very
Ben's like,
silly.
lean.
there's hundreds of Goombas there.
There's lots.
30.
Anyway, yeah, stay frosty, guys. Opens the door immediately, not
Is
frosty.
this the same time when Duke, Matt Berry himself, is like, well, you have let down your tribe, and
Yes.
now.
I don't remember seeing this character up until that point.
No,
I
I know
was
what
just
you
like,
mean.
who's this?
What's he
Why
dressed
is he
as well? He's
wearing a
dressed as like what is he dressed
he's
as?
wearing like military garb.
Yeah.
Yeah, military garb, like
Yeah, my first note for this film was confusing garb.
Yeah.
it is
Everyone's
very
got
confusing.
You've got to dress in what you can find in 200 years
It looks
AB.
like military garb, maybe from like a fetish shop, um,
yeah.
slash My Chemical Romance, The Black
Yeah, but I
Parade.
say a little bit of Black Parade about
Yeah,
him.
yeah, it's a little bit of that going on.
A little double-breasted jacket he's got on.
Yeah.
But he says basically, listen, Kurt, when you've let the tribe down, you've got to step aside and let someone else, unless you're angling for a duel.
A duel. And what's he got? He's got like what are they dueling with? One of them's got just like a shotgun and one of them's got a rifle, right? Just a gun
But
thing.
flame no, it's flamethrower versus shotgun or gun or
That's not
something.
fair, is it?
Yeah, like
That's not fair at all, because whatever happens, you're dead from the flamethrower. There's no situation where you end up like dodging the flames or something.
yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like you're on fire.
Quick question: would you like to be shot relatively quickly or burnt alive?
Yeah.
yeah.
Jesus. And
And
yeah.
it is the big, like, we've seen some high school dramas in our times, but it's like, come on, everybody, who wants me to be the leader? And everyone's like,
No one wants Duke to be the leader. No
looking at
one.
their hands.
Literally, no one wants Duke to be the leader. It says here, Duke loses his mind and challenges Kurt for leadership. He seems, I mean, he's a knobhead, but he seems pretty with it.
Yeah, he's like, listen, um, I want to be the leader. And he goes, no, no one supports you. He goes, fine. And then Chocolate says, look, we've all got to. The thing is, we have a common enemy here. It's the bloody rats. Can we just all go inside and secure the place, and we'll just wait till morning, and then we'll escape. And they plan to. No one's going to forget anything, are they? We're going to barricade all these things up. Yeah, everything, every door and every window. Yes, all of them. Are we
Yeah.
going to remember to bring all the things we might need, like food or water? Yeah, yeah. Don't stop adding things, but I've remembered everything, all right? Just going to barricade ourselves in. And then immediately they like, go, we've not bought any water.
Got no water, no food, and also we forgot to barricade a whole bloody window.
Oh
Yeah, and
yeah.
then poor Diana
Oh
gets
no.
let a bucket of rats whizzed over her.
Yeah. The rats were just all waiting there, just outside the
Yeah,
unbarricaded window, ready to jump in.
like the tall man when he's waiting to punch that glass out in Phantasm 2, waiting for them to open the curtains before he punches it. Um,
Gotcha.
but oh yeah, the rats are there. She goes, we've forgotten to board that window. Which one? Moves closer. This one I'm standing by.
This one here.
Then rats.
She gets attacked, she gets bitten, and it makes her ever so poorly.
Yeah, she has to go to bed.
She has to go to bed. You'll be all right if you go to bed. Go to bed for 12 hours, you'll be fine. Chocolate is tending to Diana. She needs
Clean her
advice.
wounds, but we've got no water.
We've got no water, can't clean her wounds. They're going to become infected. So some people decide to go and fetch medicine and water. It says here the
Keeps an eye on it.
men decide to go and fetch medicine and water.
Yeah, so
Well,
Video, Darius, and
yeah,
Kurt go to fetch the water. Oh, and Taurus, obviously.
yeah. Duke refuses to help anyone and stays in safety. Duke. Who's next? I think Taurus gets killed off screen, doesn't he? Because he turns up.
Well, they go down to get the water. Basically, all four of them walk downstairs and go, Water's full of rats, actually, so we can't have that." And then
I'd
the rats
risk
have
it.
wait.
Wouldn't you risk it if you had nothing
Yeah.
else? And she's like, I'm gonna die from infection. Oh, I'll risk this water that the rats have just been swimming in a little bit.
Yeah, constantly pissing them, aren't they, rats?
Are they?
Yeah,
Can't
but
have rats around for your pool.
Is that
all
legit?
right
Is that a
then.
fact?
I think I would risk it.
Yeah.
I'd
I
risk it.
wouldn't I
Yeah.
wouldn't be drinking it,
Plus,
but
if you're not
I'd
drink,
be
yeah, you're not drinking it. You're just cleaning your wounds with it.
Yeah, and also, you've already got rats in your wound, so if anything, that's just a little bit of homeopathy. You've diluted the rats in your water.
dosing with rats, yeah.
Yeah.
You're fine.
Yeah. But they don't get any, they just give up on it immediately, and then it turns out the rats have gathered on the stairs waiting for them. And they even say so much. They've they're waiting for us to go up the stairs. They're gonna pounce, they've covered the stairs, and this is where they list all the things. Like the rat community gets an absolute slate in here. They're like, look at them, disgusting, horrible little teeth.
Horrible little teeth and their stupid little
Mingers,
ears and long
absolutely.
leathery tails.
Yuck! And they're like, listen to all the disease you get. Hepatitis. Yeah, for the new primitives, they know a lot of diseases. They've all got medical degrees.
Hepatitis.
They do a couple like, and then they go for a couple of things, and then they go for a more generic plague. Um, and
Oh,
this
the
is
bloody
where
plague.
they get most of the way up the stairs, the four of them, and then unfortunately, Taurus just falls down the stairs.
Yeah.
What a klutz.
What?
Kurt literally does say the line, "No, don't fall down."
No, don't fall
Yeah.
down the stairs. Idiot. I was hoping that these rats will all combine like some sort of Megazord, like in
Well, so this is what they
Dracula.
do off screen now. They don't. Yeah, they don't. Yeah, like in Dracula, it becomes a rat Megazord.
Rat Megazord in a wardrobe. Isn't that
Yeah,
what happens? In my head, that's what happens. There's a
just
rat
turns to a
Megazord.
big pile of rats in clothes.
Ah!
Yeah, so he falls down there, and they go, "Oh, there's no save,"
He's
because
gone.
his flamethrower breaks, doesn't he? Because it just squirts them with deodorant. for a little bit. It just
Oh,
doesn't
what?
flame. It
Uh,
just covers them in petrol.
oh, devastated.
So they get back. Duke won't let him in. He's
No.
like, "He's got the water,"
And he
and
takes.
he's got in what's her name's ear, hasn't he? The hysterical
Yeah.
one. He's gone
Oh,
here.
I mean, I'm not
My,
surprised.
minor, Rhino,
Minor.
minor, yeah.
Mirna. I don't know.
Mirror, that's it.
He's like, hysterical, are you? Now you're my prisoner.
He goes, "Listen, how about you help me stitch those? I'm not. I'm not really. I'll protect you. Means unknown. But if you help me kill off all these other people, then I will." And they're trying to get in. He won't let them in, despite the fact one of them very sternly says, "I command you in the name of humanity to let us in."
Oh, all right then.
Oh,
I'm
In the name of
convinced.
humanity, you say, well, unlatched. Um, but Chocolate basically tricks them by going to Myrna. There's a rat there. Bloody hell. He goes, ah, go on.
there's a rat behind you.
Absolute.
Yeah. Oh, what a rascal. Yeah. I think what's
Maybe.
actually really interesting, to give this film more credit than it deserves,
Go
they
on then.
do, with the exception of her name, they do a good job with her in her character development, because the two men are talking about leadership and things, but she is actually like showing like
Yeah.
diplomacy and leadership skills like quite consistently throughout this film.
Because even when they try to like, when they are like doing the swinging dicks competition, trying to be leader, she's the only one who intervenes, isn't she?
And
Yeah,
says,
well,
no.
she breaks up and she's like, guys, we don't need to argue about who's being leader, blah 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 blah. Like let's just actually do some stuff.
Should we do some surviving? Because I
Should
don't know
we
if
do?
you've
Yeah,
noticed,
should we just actually
because
do the things that we need to do?
there's rats.
Yeah,
Cause rats. Cause of
Yeah,
bloody
it's right.
rats.
yeah, they get them in, and then they have a little discussion. Should I kill Horrible Duke? And it's like he's gonna, but then Myrna like goes, "Oh, don't." Takes the blame for her toxic new boyfriend,
Yeah.
and he
Mm.
goes, "Oh, it was me actually. I said he had to protect me. He's just interpreted that as betray you all." Um, so
Easy to do.
and he goes, "All right then, because I like Myrna, I won't kill you, Duke, but it's going
Can
to be
you
really
stop double
tense."
crossing us, you
Yes.
rat?
Yeah, there's only one rat here. What are you going to talk to your mate? Squeak, squeak, squeak. You understand them. Um, yeah, but then there is all of a sudden, and for reasons I have not fathomed, maybe you two have, the rats just stop attacking for a bit.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
regroup.
they chill out for a little bit. Good rats. What?
They're probably going to have sex and make some more rats.
Well, they do go to form. I mean, we'll see them in a little bit. They have a quiet bit while while the gang are sort of locked away. They hear a man shouting. They assume it's Taurus, and I imagine it's the rats bloodlessly inserting themselves into him so they can drive him around like a mech in a bit. Drive him
Drive
around
him
like a little
around like a
puppet
mess.
man.
What happens when Duke like drops a grenade? Because at one point he's got a
Oh,
grenade.
this is when they go to escape. So when the rats have
Yeah.
mysteriously stopped attacking, they find a way to get back out. They find a way to get through, and they all have a go at walking through a sea of rats. Um, which, funnily enough, done in real life. This is a
Really?
true rat horror story. I was in Kuala Lumpur, and we were going to a hostel, and we'd driven around for quite. It was quite late at night. It was like midnight, 1 in the morning, and we are on the phone to this hostel that we were staying at. We travelled all day to get from the other side of the country, and the taxi driver had got us there. And the taxi driver basically said, "Look, because of the traffic and the one-way systems, it's going to take me another like it's going to take ages to drive around here. But your hostel is just at the other side of this street. It's just a back street, so it's quiet." And like literally, we were on the phone to the hostel and says, "No, no, it's fine. Look, here is me waving at the end of the alley." So it was safe. So we just said to the taxi driver, "Okay, we'll get out." We took our backpacks and everything. Then all we had to do was walk down this back street to get to the hostel and this man. And then we looked down, and literally it was a sea of rats. I think 30 plus rats at this point.
Or 200 maybe.
Yeah.
There's at least 35 rats in
Yeah.
this.
And genuinely, like we had to. I now cannot explain. I don't think neither Karen or I hesitated in the least because I don't think it even occurred to us that it was a thing you could be scared of. We were just really tired and wanted to get to the other side of this street. So we just walked across and you couldn't avoid the rats. You just had to move and put your feet down, knowing that the rats would move and not be stepped on. And then when your feet were on the floor, they would like run over your trainers and stuff like that as well.
Ugh.
That's
And this is what our
crazy.
heroes do now. They all just have a go at walking through a sea of rats. And video basically goes, they've not even nibbled my shoes.
They've not even nibbled my shoes, not even once.
But
Yeah.
then when they've all had to go at getting across there, Duke decides, despite the warnings, to double cross them yet again. And he goes, I'm going to get in this tank that we've got that's got machine guns on it. We haven't thought of using up to this point.
The tank with
Um,
machine guns. I was just thinking about rats. We saw a massive rat in Bournemouth. Do you remember that? It was like
yeah,
it looked like a cat. I was like, whoa,
yeah.
that was
That was a
terrifying.
big seaside rat. I had to make sure he was big and strong to fend off the seagulls.
Yeah,
That rat
a
had
big
had a lot of
seaside rat.
chips along the beachfront.
I don't feel too freaked out by rats. That's not one thing that
There
I'm.
was. You got any? You live in the big city, Alice. Any rat encounters fresh on your mind?
But no, I have a badger and a fox in my garden that I see on my like
Oh yeah, that's
little
nice.
thing. I did see a seagull eating a rat once in the Bristol town centre.
I feel like you've told me that before, or at
Yeah,
least someone else has, because
yeah,
I
no, I
feel
probably
like
did.
that.
It was the most horrible thing I've ever seen.
Oh Jesus.
Oh, I saw
Yeah, that's
Um,
pretty horrific.
I saw two seagulls having a go at the remains of a pigeon downtown a few weeks ago.
Oh,
mm,
sharing
Those
pigeon.
seagulls, I mean, seagulls. Hitchcock had it right. Those seagulls are the most devastating creatures in
Yeah.
the world. If there'd been any seagulls around, this lot would have been all right in rats.
Mm.
yeah.
They'd have had no hope against the seagulls.
Mm. Um. So
So he
yeah,
betrays
where do we
them.
get to? Where do we
He
get to?
betrays them and he gets into the tank for some reason
Yeah.
when he's off screen, and then like basically goes, "Ah, now I, Duke, have the upper hand yet again. Put your guns down, and then come with me and let me be the leader. Otherwise, I'm gonna blow us up with this grenade."
Yeah.
And they say, "I don't do that." But then, in the same way that chocolate tricked him previously, so they're not going to fall for it again. But a rat does crawl behind them,
Ah,
and it comes as a bit of a surprise, and then he drops the grenade on the floor like a goon and blows them both up.
what an idiot.
Why didn't he
What?
just like kick it away? He's got at least five
Yeah.
seconds before it
Yeah,
would have
He
blown
pulled the
up.
pin out ages before, unless it's one of those where you pull the pin out and then you hold it
yeah.
for a
When you
while.
let it go,
Yeah.
then
Oh,
it
yeah, no,
starts
it's one of
ticking.
those.
Because he pulled it out for.
You've
Or
cooked it already.
yeah, I'd never know. Um. So yeah, after seeing that, Diana retreats, and
The
Yeah,
because
rats are
bless her.
kicking
She's
off.
she's
Yeah,
got come out of bed from her, horrible wounds, come out, seen her best friend being blown up by a lunatic, and then it's just like, do you know what? This day is terrible.
yeah. And
this day's
the
terrible.
rats have decided that's the catalyst to attack again now. And
Yeah,
then we see Taurus wanders up and he goes, "Oh, you're all right. I know your face has been eaten off, but you seem to be okay." And he falls down. He's full of rats.
yeah,
You say it so casually, and he's full of rats.
yeah.
He's full of rats again.
I
I,
mean, what insult to injury, right? If you've seen your friend, you've already thought he was dead. You've said, "He's alive. Thank goodness. He's
oh,
worse for wear, but he's alive." He's fallen over. He is dead, unfortunately,
I
and he's
do
full
not
of
know
rats.
why, but that really reminds me of the theme song to Friends.
Wait, what?
What?
Wait, what?
You,
Ex-
it's like you didn't think your life would turn out this way. I mean, yeah, I didn't think I would be infested with rats. And
Puppeted from the inside by rats.
yeah, yeah.
Life's a joke. You're broke, and you're full of rats.
Yeah.
And
That is how your love life would
you-
be, DOA, if your boyfriend turned up and he was a corpse being piloted by
yeah.
Yeah.
rats. Um,
Yeah, I knew it. I had a bad feeling about you. Piloted by
so
rats, are you?
unfortunately, the grief of losing Taurus comes twice at least, and then the philosophers say you die twice. Once when you pass away, and the second time when rats explode out of your
Yeah.
corpse. Um, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's enough for Diana.
Yeah. She
Yeah.
she punches her own ticket.
She goes away and like
Oh
has a
God.
big soliloquy, very Shakespearean in the movie here, saying, "I want to be the one to decide when I die. Like I desperately don't want to be eaten by rats."
It would be a horrible way to go, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, she punches her own ticket. She kills herself.
It's argued, does she though? Because she slits her own wrists, and then when Kurt finds her, he goes, "Fucking hell, she's covered in rats," and then just blasts her with a
Oh
shotgun
yeah.
loads of times. And then the others go, "She cut her own wrist. You could have saved her, but you've shot her loads of times."
It's what she would have wanted.
It's what she would have wanted, yeah.
Yeah, as I should have wanted. I tell you what, though, everyone is very upset to see Diana go. Honestly, it's like the mid-90s and red top newspapers.
Yeah.
Diana, no! She was the best of us, the
Yeah.
purest one.
So now we are down to the four, aren't we? We've
Yeah,
got
the
4-4.
Dream Four.
chocolate, video game, Kurt Hustle, and bald
Monk.
monk
Darius.
man.
It looks like I don't know what I think it's mainly the monk guy, but when I'm looking at it, it looks like some weird version of Red Dwarf in the in the background, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
In this foursome, who would each of the Red Dwarf characters be then?
So
Um,
yeah,
what's his name? Oh, for fuck's sake.
Darius.
Is the robot man. What's his name?
Crichton.
Crichton, yeah.
Crichton. I just had Kramer in my head.
Kramer. It's like Seinfeld. This one's Jerry. So I guess Kurt would be Lister.
Yeah.
Video is then therefore Rimmer.
Yeah,
And,
definitely.
Are we
and
just
then
making
chocolate is the cat.
chocolate is the
Yeah.
cat simply because of ethnicity? Is that all we're doing here? We're
No,
what?
it's just how it's fallen.
Best
I was,
dress sense.
I was gonna best dress sense. I was gonna say, if anything, we're just as bad as Bruno Mattei, if that's what we're doing. Um,
Well, she can be Lister then.
yeah,
You
There you
know,
go.
she's technically actually she ends up being kind of in
The
charge.
survivor.
she's
Yeah.
definitely in charge.
All
Yeah.
right, so we'll swap them.
He's in charge, and the
Oh, I mean,
final
he's
shot.
got quite good fashion sense too. He can be cat.
Yeah. I feel like in
There
a
you go.
post-apocalyptic world, having that thing wrapped around your neck, it can only be a negative because anyone could grab it.
Well, that's why he drives his
Strangle you.
bike so slowly, to be careful.
They find a recording, don't they, of a distressed man warning anyone who finds the town that the rats will kill them like it has their friends. Well, this is a great time to find this recording.
Leave that on the doorstep.
He leave that recording playing on a loop.
I mean, to be fair to the person that recorded it, they did get eaten by rats at the end of the recording, so they didn't have enough time for the rest
Yeah,
of
he
the
goes,
admin.
oh no, the rats are coming in. Oh my god. The end.
The end. Oh no, the
But he
rats.
does have enough time to explain it in a breathy, like I'm an injured survivor's voice. He goes,
Yeah,
"Oh,
that's
we,
good. I like
we
it.
first came here, and then before I knew it, the rats all came and they ate everybody, even though we built this amazing stuff."
Yeah. Such a shame that they have flour and sugar, but not rat poison.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that was next thing on the list to synthesize. Cress, fresh water, flour, and now. Oh, do you not trying to grow wheat and then we'll work on processing it to flour after we've done rat poison? No. Only when we can have full oven bottom fresh muffin baps will
Oh,
we then
yeah.
work on rat poison.
If water changed their lives without it tasted, imagine when they get an English muffin down their neck. They're gonna be
Oh.
like, "Whoa, man!"
When they've got bagels again.
Oh yes.
Oh, I love a bagel.
Oh,
That's why they've got that fish tank of water. They obviously you have to boil them, don't you?
Yeah.
That's what they're working on.
the rats attack again. This is when is it Deuce and Kurt they sacrifice themselves to barricade the door to allow Video
Yes.
Chocolate to
And
escape
a lovely
outside.
little like, you thought Kurt was gonna be the guy that survives,
No.
No.
but no.
Sacrifices himself. Whose head comes through the wall? Whose head comes in?
Oh yeah.
There's a decapitated head.
Does it? I don't remember that.
Yeah, when the door collapses, there's just maybe someone's head comes off
Oh, it's
in
probably
this film.
Titus, isn't it? You know,
Yes.
his body's up there, so yeah. To be honest, Lucifer and Lilith got away quite easy. They haven't been terrorized by rats as long as the
Yeah.
rest of them. They
Yeah.
got a quick.
Lucifer was nice and drunk when he died as well, so he probably had no.
Just
Yeah.
got a bucket of rats on him. And we don't know when she noticed that that the rats were eating her from the inside, might have just snipped her spine off and gone
Oh,
in asleep quietly.
oh, she goes, "Oh, got butterflies in my tummy. What's all that about?" Um,
Oh,
so yeah,
tell you what, big
video.
Yeah.
bum hats. What's going on here?
So they've sacrificed themselves, and video game and chocolate are left.
And that is
Uh,
when teams in hazmat suits appear from the sewers, gassing all the rats and appearing to save the duo. And I
They
think the
saved them
duo,
just in time. Thankfully, rat poison just makes you fall asleep a bit if you're a person.
yeah, exactly. Um, I think they're from Delta 2, which is a sector of underground dwellers who are said to aid those above the ground. Are you lot from Delta 2? And they're like, yeah, we are. They thank
Oh,
them.
wicked. They talk
They,
about the Bible a little bit. They say like, oh, it was actually said in this book, I think it was called the Bible, that God created men and animals and we all live together like brothers. Is that what you are? We're friends. And the person's like, yeah.
yeah, we are actually. We love the Bible. We
Uh,
bloody
let,
love the Bible.
anyway, let me continue this conversation after I've taken my mask off.
He
And they
removes
do.
his he removes his mask, and it's the big reveal, the
He's the
sleepaway
Ratman.
camp moment. He's the what?
The Ratman.
He's the Ratman. So he's a humanoid rat, which obviously is shocking, or just a man in a furry mask.
yes.
I think if you're chocolate at
And
this point, you want to try and keep you cool, don't you? But
she just screams in his face, which I think is quite rude considering they have just saved them. Rat face or not.
She
if
screams the
someone
title at
saves
him.
you from horrible rats, I don't care what they look like.
Yeah.
You're gonna
Does,
need to be a bit grateful.
does the title come out of her mouth, or did I imagine that?
I think it just freeze frames like rats, colon,
Freeze
Notte,
phrase.
terror.
I think I found a GIF when I was posting about us doing this episode, and the title came right out of her mouth, and I like that. Ah! Yeah, we don't see how the Rat Man reacts, though, do we? Like he could be screaming as well.
Yeah.
Oh, but he's already seen her face. She's not
I
gonna.
I love to think that because obviously that's where the movie ends. But if the movie didn't end there, would she finish screaming and then be like, that was unnecessary?
That
Yeah.
was totally unnecessary.
Well, I suppose I'll take my rat poison gas away elsewhere then, shall
What
I?
Yeah.
what is going on? Right, what are we supposed to believe is
They're in a Planet of the
happening?
Rats
Or
situation.
maybe she would play it off as like, that's how humans say hello.
Yeah,
Ah!
and they go, we know we used to be humans, but we've been turned into rats, so we know you're lying. Sorry.
Well, what is it though? Are they rats that Splinter style became human, or a man like people that became rat-like?
Oh
Where did
yeah,
they begin?
good question. It could be
It's
either
like
or.
those old textbooks where it's got like a little kid and then it's like they slowly turn into an anthropomorphized like animal and then the last one is
Animorphs.
like the
Animorphs, I love that.
yes.
The halfway process of Animorph covers is horrific. A man who's like a little kid, a 10-year-old kid who's half crab.
With like a hawk's nose, a beak.
Oh,
Yeah.
because it can't be the rats, because rats still exist, right? Rats still exist. So why have some rats turned into
Well,
humans?
maybe it's that the humans were like, these rats keep attacking us.
Yeah.
Let's just try and become more rats so it confuses the rats. We'll be bigger
That's
than the
that's
rats.
how evolution works. You just got to think
Yeah.
really hard about what you want to be next.
Yeah.
That's what I do when I'm too full of dinner. Just think about digesting it really hard to try to consciously do it. They just did that with evolution. They went, those rats are doing brilliant with that radiation. Just think until your nose gets all ratty.
Yeah.
Just look at a biro. Imagine being able to get through
It's
it.
it's
Come
good
on.
though. It's a good ending. It's a nice moment.
I think that reviewer nailed it. That is the closest to a sleepaway
Yeah,
camp
exactly.
reveal that
It's
we've seen
great.
in many a year.
Okay. That's the end of Rats Not a Terror. I mean, I've not actually prepared any name game, Andy. Have you prepared any?
I'm scribbling them away right now
Well,
with a
you're gonna have to leave.
famous live comedian as well, Ben. We can manage this between the three
Okay.
of us.
Okay. That's
Well,
fine.
let me think. All right.
Right.
So,
Chew on this for a minute.
you want
Give
to
us the
synop
synopsis.
in a post-apocalyptic Earth, where humanity lives underground, a group of people, um, are take on a place run over by vicious rats. That's a terrible description. The synopsis is way too long. I've tried to simplify it. Bikers versus rats, Andy. Okay.
Okay. So in this film, a group of new primitives with the last names Perry and Kelly, they are forced to climb up a big long ladder to survive. It's ever so scary.
Perry and Kelly.
Yeah, they're their last names. They've got the same first name, so they go with the last names so it's less confusing.
Mats.
Yeah, Mats.
Uh,
You have to climb up a ladder. It's ever so scary up there.
Height of Terror.
That's it. Mats,
yeah.
Height of
Wait,
Terror.
what? Oh, Matt's.
Ma-
Like
Friendly with each
Matthew,
other.
I will be. I'm going to be a rat man. In post-apocalyptic Earth, where most of humanity lives underground, a group of bikers stumble across a.
Brats.
Rats.
It's just
Is it just
brats. Night
brats?
of Terror.
Oh,
Brats, Night
brats.
of
That's literally
Terror.
it. I'm very lazy when it comes to this. I'm not changing every word. Brats. There we
I'm
go.
just I've just written down everything that rhymes with rats.
Yeah, yeah.
Congratulations, you've cracked the formula.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There we go. Any more?
Their safety, they break into a shopping mall, and unfortunately, no helmets, but loads of other headgear. But it is quite scary.
Hats.
Yeah, hats, and then I only changed one word then, so
Oh
there's
yeah, yeah. That's me judging you for it. Random lab to take on a place overrun by vicious CGI four-legged creatures. One of them's played by James Corden, where with their with their assholes have been CGI'd out.
the
Peter
cats.
Rabbits.
It's just cats, Night of
Oh,
Terror,
cats.
but
I was
specifically
I
movie version that I've not actually seen.
I've not seen the movie version of Peter Rabbit, but I'm beginning to get sympathy for Mr. McGregor by the sound of this. He's so sassy.
I like the thing with Peter Rabbit that annoys me is he steals food. He constantly lies to his mother. He's a terrible rabbit.
Yeah,
He deserves to be, you know, 19th century books. Looks like he's like getting involved in motor chases and
japes.
all sorts.
Any
I'm
more?
still trying. I'm still trying to think of. I
Okay.
can't.
Fully covered. It's absolutely fine. There's gases lying at roughly chest height, so it's fine. They do not expect, however, the bikers to be attacked from the skies. And Dizzy from Starship Troopers is there as a sheriff.
It's bats.
It's bats.
Yeah,
Night of Terror.
Hell
I've
yes.
got one.
Okay, we're ready.
Hell yes.
In
Let's
a
go.
post-apocalyptic landscape, a group of bikers come across a nurse who is looking after some people, and they are really enthusiastic about it.
Yes,
A
oh, okay,
nurse.
so it's
So I think I've even got confused. I'll just tell you, it was Chaps Delighted by Kara.
oh chat. I couldn't go. I knew it was something by Kara, but I
Oh,
couldn't.
okay.
Chaps.
I want to struggle with that, I think.
Chaps Delighted by
That's
Kara.
that's like the headline.
Is this
Chaps delighted by Kara.
Yeah.
Do you reckon the creator of Biker Mice from Mars watched this film and went, "Oh, bikers versus rats. Can't be rats though. I'll have to change it to mice." And then he created it.
Just change it just enough.
Changed it just enough so it wasn't the same. Uh, any more?
No.
No, no, I'm done.
My
That's
favorite,
simultaneous. That's
my
stereo.
favorite bit about the name game is the exhausted nose everybody says when they go, "Any more?" No, no, no. Okay, now we got to rate the movie. A to F. Pluses and minuses are allowed. Rate good or rate bad. How would you rate Rats, Night of Terror, Alice?
I think there are some things to like about it. I think it is a party movie. I think it doesn't particularly make sense you just putting this on Netflix or wherever. Will still probably have a good time, but if it was in like an auditorium, like Bristol Bad Film Club or something like that, you'd probably have a much better time. I think for that reason, it's a C, a C. So like you'll have a good
That's a
time.
it's a
I,
fair time.
I
That's a
was kind
fair.
of feeling the same. I feel like in a Bristol Bad Film Club environment, watching it with an audience, you'd probably have a really good time. Like, I don't know, just sat in your living room watching it, slightly different. I was thinking C as well. for me for exactly the same reasons.
Mhm.
I will mostly join you. I'm going to chuck a plus on the front of that
Mhm.
though,
Oh yeah.
because for that exact reason, I think this is a film where this will be like in the chamber now, ready to go. When people are coming round, we know we're going to have some folks around and say, let's put some mad horror film on. I'll chuck on Rats, Night of Terror, and I think that will be a lovely, delightful time. I would love to see it with an audience at some point, so I want to make sure we big this up sufficiently so people that do these kind of events can go, tell you what, Rats Night of Terror sounds like something to chuck on. I would certainly turn up for it. And you know what? That reveal at the end,
Yeah.
is it expect for the type of movie it is it entirely unexpected? No.
Yes. Oh no.
I
No.
mean, no, sorry. I mean, is it entirely unexpected? Like, no, it
Oh
is
no. Okay, I got you. I
expected.
got you.
Yeah. So yeah, it is. It is something that
They
you could
should
have
have.
expected to happen. In fact, I was mystified that it didn't happen sooner, and
Yeah.
we got an act where they were facing off against humanoid rat people. Um, but I love that little face at the end.
Should
Yeah.
have a little
And
teeth. They should have had some little rat teeth. That would have been way better.
all right, Tom Savini, get to work on the remake.
Get some teeth in that rat.
Yeah, get Matt Berry to be the new Duke, and then
Mm.
you're away. Yeah, I would watch this again for a fun time anytime. So
Yeah.
yeah, C plus from me.
Hell yes. Um, Great triple bill with rats, bats, and cats. I reckon that'll be the next one. Let's watch
Yeah,
it in that order.
Yeah.
Um, okay, there we go then. That was Rats Night of Terror. What a good time. Thanks so much for joining us, Alice.
Thank you for
Where
having me as always.
Absolutely, it's
always
been
a
a pleasure.
pleasure.
Where can our listeners find you online if they want to keep up to speed?
So if you are in Bristol, you can follow us at Tales of Adventure, which is the D&D live show that I do. It's at the Bristol Improv Theatre. We're having a break over summer, but yeah, come see us in September.
Hell yes. Wonderful. Do it. Okay, so thanks everybody for listening. If you enjoyed the show, become a patron at patreon.com/horror hangout. Thanks to Taj Easton for our theme music. Thanks to Acast and Rusty Quill for hosting the show. Please consider giving us a rating or review. We're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and Threads, or horrorhangout.co.uk for everything in one place. Next week, it's a new month. Can't believe it. This one's flown by, isn't it, Andy? May
I
has been the
know.
fastest month
Tell you
yet.
what, soon be Christmas.
Soon be Christmas. Right, we've got kind of some ideas of what the lineup's going to be. We're not entirely sure what order it's going to be, but we will say we're definitely going to be covering a couple of new releases, including Dangerous Animals with Jai Courtney as a serial killer who feeds people to sharks. That sounds great. And 28 Years Later at the end of the month. And then we're just kind of working out what other films we're going to do and what guests we're going to have. So we will reveal the lineup as soon as possible. So keep an
But
eye
we
on our
can tell
socials for
you
that.
it'll be a belter once again.
We can tell you it'll be a reet belter. But yeah, thank you everybody for joining us. And yeah, see you next time.
See you next time,
Bye.
everyone. Oh bloody hell! If you must, go looking for supplies, do something with that flour. Don't eat it raw.
Before I go to bed, I'm gonna have
Absolutely.
a lovely fistful of flour. Right.
Oh, just a treat. Good night, everybody.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Bye.
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 Bye.